And we are back.
We are back.
Normally we do this for Patreon, and we just go live for our little tiny Patreon that hangs out with us on Friday nights.
Yeah.
But tonight we're going to go live on YouTube just publicly because why not?
Yes.
And I'm a classy broad. I'm about to be drinking Elijah Craig private barrel out of a fucking Spider-Man cup because this is what I've got.
And I'm drinking box wine out of one of my children's skull cups with a straw.
It's grape juice for adults.
Yes, it is. And this is my juice box. And I'm already one glass in.
That explains the singing that was happening a minute ago.
I'm vibing.
I fuck with it.
I'm having a good time. It sucks that I was so exhausted in Thailand. I really regret not taking them up on their karaoke offer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you would have had a lot of fun with the karaoke thing. I'm really shocked that you didn't.
I was so tired.
Yeah.
They were like, hey, you guys want to do karaoke after this? And it was 9 o'clock at night already. We still had an hour drive back to the hotel. There's no way.
So what are we doing?
You
just gonna hang out?
Well, I was gonna kind of give you the cliff notes of the show, the first episode of You. And kind of be goofy about it.
Okay.
Whatnot, but I also have these cards here that you handed me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we have all kinds of stuff that we can do. It's not like we're gonna have a huge watch tonight.
Yeah.
It's Friday night. Most people are out doing what they do on Fridays.
Yeah.
So I figured we could just sit here for a few hours and bullshit, and we'll start with the You thing. I have no idea anything about that show other than dude has a glass box that he locks people in.
Yes, that is very much a part of the show. You're correct.
And I only know that because I've seen it on the TV a few times when I popped in. Like, what are you watching?
Yeah.
How'd she get in there? What's happening right now?
He locked her in there.
Abby said we're doing karaoke next time. We could make a Tennessee drive for karaoke.
Yes. Yep. Losing my religion is really the thing on repeat in my. What is she doing? Why are you giggling?
She stuck her head in here and was looking up at me like, why can't I get up there?
You ho, I'm the only one who can put my face there.
That's funny.
You want to try to come up here with her up here? I mean, I'll pick you up. I'll try my best.
Yeah.
Got a big old baby in front of me.
You do. I edited that episode of The Good Wives. And,
Yeah.
And I had you, because, I always do. So, real talk, every time I edit any of our content, I always put Peaches first. It's just like in everything else in life. She comes first. So, like, it's my timeline or her timeline, then me, then double or her, then whoever she's talking to, guest.
No. She literally has her paw pushing her away. She's like, no, she's my mom. Go away. Okay. Sorry, Lilo. I don't want to do this right now.
And while I was editing that content, you were doing exactly what you're doing with your right hand right now. You were doing that the whole time.
Patting her butt.
And you were just talking, just doing a thing. And I'm like, why are you mom patting the dog? What is happening right now? And it happened the entire time.
Yeah. She was sleeping very well while I was doing
Because you
that.
were mom patting her butt like a child.
Yeah.
Spoiled fucking brat.
She really is. She really is.
It's funny. That's funny. We could make a weekend to Tennessee. That's always an easy thing. We just have to leave on a Thursday. We'll leave a vehicle with the grandparents.
Yeah.
Shoot up there and come back Friday night or Monday, late Sunday, whatever, so that you can pick the kids up from school Monday.
Yeah.
Or even have the grandparents do it. We just get them when we get back.
Yeah.
But
leave them with food money and whatnot.
Yeah,
Those children are
ravenous raptors.
Oh my gosh, they eat like 10 rabbits.
Yeah. Okay, so what's this? Tell me about the show. What are we doing?
So,
as I drink my whiskey out of a Spider-Man cup because I'm an adult.
So, we're going over the first episode, and we're going to be in the interior of a bookstore.
Okay.
There's a gentleman there, dark hair.
Not bad.
I would say 5'9", 5'10", a little bit on the taller side, thin, pasty. Can tell he doesn't work out.
Okay.
Right? And then bell jingles, someone walks through the front door, immediately catches his attention. Like predator on prey. Just woof. And there's little things we notice about the person who walked in, blonde ponytail, dressed somewhat modestly, but she's wearing jangly bracelets. And the fact that she's wearing jingly bracelet, he goes, you don't want attention, but the fact that you're wearing those bracelets tell me that you're kind of seeking it. So just based on her bracelets, he's like, yeah, you want my attention right now, because if you weren't wearing those bracelets, you wouldn't be out in public showing off like you're a dancer or something. Yeah. I'm really off base of the show, but I'm really giving the vibe of what he was going for.
Okay.
And she's scanning the book sections and he's watching her through the thing. And he's saying things to himself like, no, you wouldn't read that. You don't look like the type of girl who would read that. You're not really a fiction kind of person. It sounds so stupid. And at some point, she walks up to him and he was like, oh, our first interaction. And she goes, do you work here? And he goes, guilty. And they have this whole thing.
Does he actually work there?
Yes, he does.
Okay.
Yeah, he does work there. And they have a little back and forth. And some dude walks in and he grabs some things and he's a kind of a dick about it. And he thinks asshole. And she goes, wow, what an asshole. And he's like, oh, see, now we're agreeing on things, but in his mind.
Okay.
So he's like building this whole relationship with her and he's known her for 0.5 seconds.
Okay.
Right?
So he's crazy.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So she was like, I'm looking for this book. What is it? Paula Fox? Yes. And he's like, great choice. And she's like, oh my goodness, I feel like weirdly validated right now. And he's like, look, now I'm providing for you. In his mind, yeah. And he takes her to the section that Paula Fox in. And she's like, celebrity. And he's like, yeah, she's Courtney Love's maternal grandmother or something like that. And the guy who owns the bookstore, Mr. Mooney, anybody who's related to a celebrity goes into the celebrity book section to sell more books.
Okay.
Right? So they have this whole little interaction. And then the guy who was an asshole before is like, does anybody work here? I'm trying to check out. And he's like, excuse me. His name's Joe. Joe's like, excuse me, I have to go do my job. And she was like, no, I get it. I understand. And checks out the dude. And then she walks up and she's going to pay for her books. And she gives him her debit card or a credit card. And he thinks you could pay in cash, but you want me to know your name. That's why you're giving me a credit card right now.
Why are you giggling about this?
Because it's stupid. But I also think I'm doing a pretty good job. And I'm also a glass and a half deep of wine.
You want to hear something really stupid?
Yeah.
When I have worked in telecommunications, like telemarketing rooms and things of that nature. And there was a woman that came into the call center that I worked at one time, and the center had giant bay windows in the front, and you could see out, but it was hard for people to see in because of the platinum window tint.
Right.
And there was only like 12 desks on the call side and like another 12 on the lead side. Oh, we got a super chat.
We did get a super chat. I wasn't expecting that.
I will read that right after
Okay.
I nail this thing out. Anyways, this lady's walking by, and one of the dudes that was in there was like, dude, she's fucking hot, blah, blah, blah. And she's talking, and she walked in, and she's talking to the owner of the business. And she walked outside, and I was like, I bet you $100 I can get her phone number. And he's like, what? And I was like, $100. We shook on it, and I ran outside and asked her for a business card.
That's smart.
And I came back in, and I was like, and he's like, that's a business card. I'm like, it's got her phone number on it, motherfucker. Pay up.
Did he pay up?
Of course he did.
Damn right he did.
Yeah.
We didn't discuss loopholes
salty.
here, bitch.
He was salty. Salty. And I didn't even say it was for me. I went back in and was like, hey, the owner of the company needs your business card.
That's funny. That's funny. You manipulative little shit.
It fucking worked. I made $100.
You definitely did. Yeah, girl, I don't know what you're trying to do. Go snuggle with Lilo.
This is from a super chat from Joseph that says, hey, sorry to bring you guys down, but my wife died Christmas Eve morning at 37 years old. Freak medical thing. I'm kind of lost right now. Me and my wife love you guys, and any advice would be appreciated. Thank you. I honestly have no idea what to say to that. I'm fucking so sorry that you lost your wife on such a fucking momentous holiday. That's horrible. Honor her memory, live, celebrate her life.
Yeah, I would, if you were to pass away, I would make it my life mission to achieve every goal we've ever talked about.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's my advice.
Go do the bucket list things?
Do the fucking bucket list thing, like, and I'd bring your femur bone with me.
Yeah. Be going by proxy?
Yeah, I mean, you're still, it'd be an us thing.
It would be.
I don't really have much else on that.
I don't either.
I'm so sorry. Ivy, excuse me, sweetheart. You gotta lay down, baby. Down. Anywhere. Anywhere works. There you go. Just get comfy. Okay. All right. Not my face. All right. Continuing on with the you thing.
Real quick before you do that, Mint just said, I bought your book, Chris. If you guys are reading my book, I would really like feedback. You can send it to tobebetterco@gmail.com. I don't think that I'll ever write another one. There are errors in the book. There's no pages. Like, this was definitely a learning process for me. And though I did it and I believe I could totally do it again, I just want to know that the book is creating conversations and is changing thought processes. Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Back to you. See what I did there?
Yeah, I did, yeah. So he's concocted in his mind that the only reason she gave a debit card was that so he knew her name. And he reads her name, Guinevere Beck. Who the fuck names their kid Guinevere Beck? He doesn't say that, but he was like, oh, why'd your parents name you that?
I like that name.
Guinevere, it's pretty...
And Genevieve.
Yeah. That was one of those names I wish that I was named when I was younger. But
yeah.
They stuck me with what they stuck me with.
Right, but nobody would actually call you that. You'd probably be called Jen.
Yeah.
Like, that sucks.
Or Gwen.
Eve. Or, yeah, right. Like,
yeah.
You wouldn't get the cool
No,
full
I
name.
would make them call me by my whole name.
Same.
Like, people who go by, like, Philip instead of Phil.
Yeah, if my name was Lancelot, you're not calling me Lance.
Right.
Bitch.
Or
like,
Lot.
It's funny.
And she was like, yeah, but my friends call me Beck. And she was like, my parents were pretty crazy on the name thing. And she was like, when I didn't get your name, and he was like, oh, well, I'm Joe Goldberg. And they exchanged that, and then she leaves. And then he goes on
I'm gonna put her on her bed.
Ivy place.
And then she goes on.
My ribs don't bend that way. She leaves, and there is another worker in the bookstore. What was his name? You know what? The script will tell me. Let's see. Beck Joe. Ethan. His name was Ethan. And Ethan was like, bro, she was so into you. And you know her full name. You should look her up. And Joe does that. Just deep dives this chick. Instagram, Facebook, everything, everywhere. And he's like...
Do you think that's weird?
I do.
Like, as a woman, if you met somebody and, like, they added you on social media an hour after you walked out the door.
Yeah, like, bro, how did you find me?
Right? Well, I mean, the name. All her friends call her Beck. That ding. Hey, Beck.
Yeah, right. But also, like, Guinevere Beck, he was like, you wouldn't be surprised at how few Guinevere Becks there are in the area. She was the only one.
Right.
Yeah.
Makes it real fucking easy.
Yeah.
But so as a woman, like, if a dude does that shit, like, that's creeper status.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless I invite you to add me on social medias, what are you doing here?
Tara said, okay, Christopher, you got it. That is my fucking name.
I don't like that.
I know you don't. I could see it in your face. She's the only one that gets to call me that, guys.
Yeah.
And my dad. My dad calls me Christopher.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not going to fight your dad on that.
Yeah. I mean, you'd win. He's old as fuck. It's like 70, almost 74 years old.
Yeah. Take him out below the knee.
It wouldn't take much.
I'm kidding. If my husband's father happens to be watching this, I'm a very sweet lady. I'm not going to take you out at the kneecaps, I promise.
It's his wife, Dana, you'd have to worry about. You want to apologize to her, not to him.
I'm so sorry, Dana. I promise I will only talk to you. It'll be a great thing. We'll be good.
Funny. We need to go up there and see them.
I think we'll have a fun time. So I'm making sure that I'm caught up where I need to be. So this is kind of important. So he looks her up on the internet, stalks her a little bit, recognizes that her social medias are just kind of a surface level her. She's trying to build a following based on what she thinks other people want to see of her instead of being an authentic version of herself.
So pretty much everyone on the internet?
Pretty much, yeah.
Gotcha.
We got another super chat.
Oh, shit. Demi Teal said, "Hi, y'all. It's my first time in Alive. I have started watching your podcast a few months ago. I'm on season 1, episode 39, but I look forward to listening to y'all every day during my workouts. Thank you." Well, thank you for being here. Thank you for the support. Sorry about episode 30 and 30.5.
So you're just getting over the ugly hump. Like, it gets so much better, I promise.
It really does.
That was a really rough time for us.
We don't talk about that episode. I
Yeah.
mean, we do. We talk about it a lot as an apology.
The episodes that shan't be named.
The dark side of To Be Better.
Yeah.
That's funny.
But are we gonna go back to the thing?
Yeah, I'm listening to you.
So Joe gets some takeout. He lives in an apartment building. So he's walking up to his apartment and there's a kid sitting on the staircase. Can't remember the kid's name.
Is it relevant to the story?
Yes.
Okay.
Paco. His name is Paco. And he was like, "Hey, Paco, how's everything going?" And as he's talking to Paco, we can hear Paco's mom and her boyfriend fighting in their apartment. And Paco's like, "Life's great, Joe. I'm great. Thanks for giving me the books that you give me." Like as an escape. And Joe's getting ready to go into his apartment and the fight gets really bad. And he was like, "Have you eaten dinner yet, Paco?" And Paco's like, "My mom will make me something to eat later." And Joe's like, you can have my dinner. Like, I have something left over in the fridge. And Paco's like, "No, I can't do that." And Joe's like, "No, I'm like super insistent. I wasn't even really set on this takeout. Somebody else paid it for me. I had to pick it up. So have my dinner." And Paco takes it. He goes into the apartment. He opens his fridge and there's like ketchup, mustard, and expired mayo. Dude's got nothing to eat in his house. So he settles on like a bread sandwich. And then he goes back to stalking Guinevere.
We call that an I wish sandwich.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish I had something other than bread and condiments to put on this bitch.
Yep. Been there.
The same.
I remember butter sandwiches. And it was a single piece of bread that I'd put a bunch of butter on and fold it in half.
I'm not going to try to one up it, but I can match it.
Yeah.
Yep. Garlic salt or garlic powder dumped on the bread and mashed into it with a spoon to make garlic bread. Because we didn't have butter. Or the spicy chicken sandwich that is just ramen broth with noodles on it.
Did you dip it in the broth?
Yeah, had to.
Yeah.
Yeah, put mayonnaise on it so that it tasted like a spicy chicken sandwich.
Damn.
The things that you do when you're poor.
Yeah. I mean, it worked. Not going to lie, butter sandwiches sometimes just slap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you toast it?
No.
See, I had toasted it. Then it'd been like eating breakfast.
I didn't like the crunchiness of it.
What?
Yeah. I'm also somebody who dips peanut butter and jelly sandwiches in the milk.
What is wrong with you? No, I'm just kidding.
The plethora of mental illnesses that I have.
Peanut butter, mayonnaise, and jalapenos. You get creative when you're poor.
Was it good?
I'll eat it now. Believe it or not,
Really?
it wasn't bad. It's got the creaminess of the mayonnaise, the crunchiness of the peanut butter, and
And
the
the
snap,
spice,
snap and spice of the jalapenos.
One night you're going to be like, "Hey, babe, what's for dinner?" And I'm going to bring out a silver platter and whip it open, and it's going to be that.
Yeah, with some Fritos on the side.
Hell yeah.
Call that shit a whole fucking gourmet meal.
I'll add hummus for you, though. We're going to take it up to like top tier fancy.
As long as it's spicy.
All right. So he's stalking her a little bit. He finds out where she goes to school. Finds out what she's doing for her career. She wants to be an author.
Hey, I'm that.
Yeah, you are.
Books for sale. Link in the description.
And he goes, and another nifty little thing our friend the internet provided me with was your address. Knows within a day where she lives. So he starts stalking her house. And Joe Goldberg's disguise is a baseball cap.
It works though, don't it?
Makes him a whole different person.
Works though, don't it?
When he wants to go incognito, he slicks his hair back and just throws that bitch on. He's just, nobody can see me now. It's so stupid.
It works though, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Superman with the glasses.
You're right. You're right. He even stated you'll be surprised what a pair of glasses will do. Do I look different to you?
You're hot either way. Especially when you take them off and look at me with intent like that. Come on.
So now he's stalking her outside of her house, and the first thing he notices is that she has no blinds, no curtains. Her life is on display for anybody walking outside of her apartment. And he happens to see that she just got out of the shower and she's walking in front of these windows with a towel on. And he was like, God, you've never seen a horror movie, have you? And as he's stalking her outside of her window, he's also stalking her on the internet. And she makes a post on Facebook or Twitter. Life is full of choices and they're super stressful, but in the meantime, mac and cheese. And he was like, it's cute, it's funny, but it's not that deep. Who are you? Like, who are you really, Guinevere Beck? I'm gonna find out. Dude's super creepy.
But he's at his core, I mean, he's a decent human being because he gave that kid books and a free dinner because their parents were fighting.
Yeah.
So at some level, there's a compassion in him.
Oh yeah, dude's broken as fuck though.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's watching her through the window and she's doing her things. And
Does she ever end up in the glass box?
I'm not gonna tell you that.
I'm never gonna watch the shit.
Right, but what if this becomes a regular thing? Are you enjoying this? Are you having fun?
I mean, I am, but you're either gonna tell me or I'm gonna Google it.
You better not. Better don't.
I will, because this is the way my brain works. I don't mind spoilers.
She ends up in the glass box.
Okay. Glass case of emotions.
I always loved that GIF. I always loved it. And I never knew the context of it because I never watched Anchorman. But knowing that he was in a glass case of emotions because Jack Black threw his dog off of a bridge because he threw a burrito in his face.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
How about that, brosive?
Early 2000s was peak comedy for movies for me.
Early 2000s was?
Wasn't that the early 2000s?
It was.
I would say the 80s to the early 2000s.
Yeah, I give it, yeah. It was definitely a different era of comedy.
Yeah.
I think the peak of comedy would be George Carlin, Pryor. The fuck was his first name? I can't think of his first name. Richard Pryor, Sam Kinison, and then it shifted from the rude, that type of comedy into more of Ace Ventura, things of that nature. I definitely think that they are the gods of comedy for what it was.
They paved a way.
Absolutely.
That's now having roadblocks built up on it. Yeah. Okay.
We will never see the likes of Richard Pryor, George Carlin, Sam Kinison, Andrew Dice Clay ever again. That raunchy, rude, in your face, like that type of comedy would get canceled immediately now. There's no chance that any of that would happen. Have you ever heard of Sam Kinison? Have you ever heard?
I would have to see his face. I'm not good with names.
He's a little short, fat guy that wore a beret, long hair.
Yes.
He was a preacher.
Shut up.
He was a fucking preacher who became a comedian. And like he would do a lot of God jokes. And one day he was like, he's on stage and he's like, people ask me all the time, aren't you scared of making these jokes? And he's like, yeah, sometimes I lay in bed thinking God's going to go, hey, remember that joke? And he's beating his microphone on his chest. And he's like, it's time to pay back for those fucking jokes. And then the heart stops. And he's like, but all of his, like, he has a lot of religious shit. We should listen to some of his shit one night. I mean, we get demonetized. We could do it.
Yeah.
We could do it through Discord. We could do it as a Discord, like, watch party.
Word. I did that the other night watching Twilight.
Yeah. Were you a part of that with all them?
Yeah. We were watching Eclipse together. That movie's insane.
Yeah. We should plan a Sam Kinison watch party.
Hell yeah. We should do it here so we can watch it on the big TV.
Absolutely.
I had zero audio while watching Twilight.
Yeah.
It was just me reading subtitles and then talking in the chat.
You've seen that movie enough that you wouldn't need to.
Not Eclipse.
No?
Never watched that movie. I only read the book.
You call yourself a fan.
I've read all the books.
You ain't a fan if you didn't watch the shows.
Oh, you guys can. I have the tattoos. His nipples and everything.
You ain't no nerd. I thought you said you was.
So jumping back into you.
Please don't jump back into me.
What are you gonna do? Stop me?
I mean, I might. How are we gonna do this? Like
a nosedive.
Okay.
You ever seen Spaceballs? Mm-hmm. You know how that creature comes out of his chest?
Yeah.
But a reverse of that.
Hello, my honey. Hello, my darling.
Yeah.
Hello, my ragtop gal. He does the hat.
Yeah.
How many assholes are on this ship? That was a great fucking movie.
I liked his really big hat.
Yeah.
Or helmet or whatever he wore. What movie was it where there was I think it was one of the spoofs of the scary movies where there was the sheriff and every time we saw her, her hat would get bigger?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so stupid. Okay. As he's stalking her, looking through her window, he's looking at Instagram, and she posted a picture of the book that she bought from the bookstore, and he was like, "But you didn't mention me. Did our interaction mean nothing to you? You mentioned the book, but you said nothing about the great guy that you met at the bookstore. What's wrong with our relationship, Beck?"
He should have hit that on Instagram. Yeah. Don't make it weird. Be like, hey, I sold you that book. Why didn't you mention me in the post?
Right. Yo.
I can't believe there's 120 something people watching us talk about this dumb
insane.
shit.
That is funny.
If there's a list, Abby, it needs to be Sam Kinison. We can absolutely pull his lives up on YouTube.
I want to make sure I'm not skipping nothing. You can keep doing what you're doing if you want to. All right, so jumping into the next part of the episode, he, like I said, has found out pretty much her whole schedule. Knows that she's at the school by 6:30 a.m. She's a teacher's assistant. He recognizes that her apartment is far too nice for the amount of money she makes, so she gets supplemental income for working for the school while she's going there. So it's subsidized housing, pretty much, through the program that she's in. And he starts stalking her at the school. And he recognizes that the teacher that she is assisting is hitting on her. And he's like, but you let him think that he has a chance. So the teacher will flirt with her and she's not going to shut it down, but she's not feeding into it. It's kind of just like in a limbo place so that she can use it when she wants to, kind of manipulate the situation to get what she wants. But she really doesn't want to go that far with the teacher. And that bothers him. Because you're supposed to be giving me that attention, Beck. But it's okay. You don't know what we have yet. Your faces are making me giggle.
Why?
Because you're like, oh, okay, fucking crazy.
Well, I just went from what a manipulative bitch.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's what she's doing.
Right.
She's taking advantage of someone. And then I hear that and I'm like, well, she's going to get what she deserves. She's going to get locked into a glass box. This is karma.
Yeah. Yeah, she a very broken person while also using situations to her advantage to get the outcome that she wants from it. Follows her to school. That happens. Skipping stuff, blah, 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 blah. All right, so now he follows her to a dinner party that she's going to with her friends in a very public place. So they're at a restaurant, and she's there with 3 of her other friends, and 3 of her other friends really don't have to work in life. They came from money. They can do whatever they want whenever they want to. She's the poor friend. And he's like, you really shouldn't be out right now. You know you should be at home working on your writings, doing your schoolwork, really anything else but being irresponsible with your time and your money. And one of her friends is Peach Salinger of the Salingers, the guy who wrote Catcher in the Rye or whatever. So she is the richest friend out of all of them. And it's one of their friends' birthday. I can't remember her name, and I'm not going to look at my phone to pull it up. But she's an influencer with like 3 million followers. So she gets $20,000 to promote a necklace on her Instagram. Yeah, it's a crazy thing. And Beck gives her present to the friend who's there, and she was like, oh my gosh, a butterfly necklace, my spirit animal of the year, you remembered. And Peach is like, but wait a minute, that's like a Tiffany brand. It wasn't Tiffany brand, but Tiffany is expensive. And she was like, oh, that's a Tiffany necklace. Like, how did you afford that? And she was like, oh, I had a coupon for it. And Peach is like, nothing has really been on sale or discounted since the dude who created that brand offed himself. So you're lying to me right now. And she was like, Beck, how much are you struggling right now? And Beck's like, no, don't worry about it. And Peach is like, well, let me take care of you. I can cut you a check and all these other kinds of things. And Joe's like, out of all of your friends, I think this is the one who only really cares about you. She sees that you're struggling. She wants to help you. And he's like, I'm glad that you have at least one person in your life who cares.
That is not how I took that.
Right. Hold on to that thought. Chick's crazy.
Real quick, we got a super chat.
Okay.
Renee said, my husband and I have been watching since episode 3. Y'all have helped us grow in many ways, and we are very appreciative of what you've created. Thank you. Thank you for the support.
You've been here for so long.
Yeah, it's been almost 3 years. Well, 2 full years at this point. Crazy that we're past our terrible 2s.
We are.
Yeah. We are not. Tiffany's ain't got coupons. I actually don't think they do. The only thing I know,
they don't. That's the only expensive brand I could think of in the moment.
Oh, okay. Only thing I can think about Tiffany's is that they make a Tiffany blue Glock.
Yeah. Oh, that's really pretty. I've seen that one.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they're at this dinner, doing a thing. Peach is like, I'll give you money. And Beck's like, no, don't worry about it. I don't want to have to pay you back. And I'm not your responsibility and all these other kinds of things. So she turns down the money in the moment. But Peach is like really insistent of like, let me take care of you, Beck.
Right.
Let me do this thing for you with my money. Very, very weird undertones to what's going on.
And I was able to call that before you said that.
Yeah. She's doing the thing.
I am really good at that, by the way.
You are.
Like,
I mean, so am I. I called Shutter Island within 5 minutes.
Yeah, I was salty as fuck about that.
You were so upset.
I was, because I didn't see that coming. Granted, I also watched that movie when I was in my 20s.
Yeah.
But like, we'll turn something on. I'm like, she's the villain. First episode. You're like, how the fuck? Well, you did that
with that CIA show or whatever we were watching. I don't know what it's called. Can't remember what it's called for the life of me, but she has a really terrible gray wig on. We've literally been watching it every single night.
Oh, The Night Agent.
Yes, that's
right.
what it is.
But I did it in the movies too. The Crow. When we watched the remake of The Crow. Not The Crow. The Beetlejuice, the second Beetlejuice movie.
Oh yeah, you called that
the
shit
moment
quick.
They were like, he was like, my parents are inside. And I was like, he's dead. You're like, how the fuck did you know that?
I was like, how do you know?
Yeah.
Why are you don't know that? And they walk into his room and she was like, oh, it's like a time capsule of the 90s. I was like, damn, you right.
Yeah.
So they're at the dinner. Dinner ends. Beck goes back to her place. Joe follows her home and he's standing across the street.
With his hat on?
With his hat on.
Okay, good. Just making sure he's incognito.
Yeah, no.
Don't want to get caught.
Don't want to get caught. And he's standing near another apartment building. So there's like a staircase that goes up. There's a tree. He's kind of like backed into a corner a little bit. And he's watching her do her thing. And she's in there making dinners and whatever and pretending to write.
And with them big ass windows, she doesn't notice that there's just somebody standing outside of her apartment.
No, she's very self-absorbed.
She deserves to get murked. She obviously hasn't watched horror movies.
Right. And then a yellow cab pulls up. And Joe doesn't think anything of it until this dude gets out who looks pretty douchey. Looks like he has bleach blonde hair, fake mala beads on, kind of giving off the air of live, love, laugh, but I'm also a douchebag.
Okay.
and he goes up to the little buzzer and he's like Hey, Beck, let me in. I want to smash Becky. You know that bird? Like, let me smash. And he's doing his little mating dance. That's what this dude's doing. His name's Benji. And Beck's like, no, fuck off. And Benji's like, but let me smash. And she's like, okay, come up. And she lets him in. And Joe's like, who the fuck is this Beck? Like, totally offended that he had no idea who this man is and why he's intruding in on her life. And we cut to a scene inside of her apartment. And she was like, I'm never going to do anything with you ever again. I took you to that party and you got blown in the bathroom by some random chick. And he was like, Beck, come on. You know, when I get drunk, I just want to love up on everybody. And I needed to just have a nut. And she was there. It was nothing personal. It was just sex. You know, you drive me crazy. You should let me smash Becky. And she does. She has sex with a dude.
This is why I don't watch TV very often.
Yeah. I mean, it's a whole thing. But it also shows like her low self-worth. And like he starts like sniffing her hair. And he's like, oh my God, you drive me crazy. And she was like, okay, I'm so like low self-esteem. I need so much validation that I'll let you do this. And they do. And it lasts a very inadequate amount of time. You can tell that he was just trying to get his nut and dip out. And after they do the thing, she was like, so like, do you want to like hang out? I have like a vegan pizza if you want pizza. And he's like, nah, I really got to go. We're making like artisan homemade sodas because I'm so tired of that crap that gives us cancer. So I'll see you later.
Hate to come and go, but
but not really. Yeah. And then he looks at her and he goes, oh yeah, by the way, it looks great on you. And she was like, what? And he's like, the extra weight, and leaves. And that's it. And Joe's like standing across the street watching all of this happen. He just watched her get plowed through a window. And he's like, I don't think that did it for you. Because you would have made this extravagant scene of you getting off and that didn't happen. I know that you didn't just get off with that guy because I know you so well, Beck. It's a whole thing. Peaches' version is so much better. You know, I was really hoping for that. I have watched this show like 60 times as background noise. It's one of my comfort shows for my anxiety. And she ends up getting off with a green pillow. This green pillow becomes this massive thing in the show for some reason. Yeah. So she self-pleasures herself, and then Joe is like standing outside of this apartment building, touching himself to her touching herself. And he's creating this whole scene in his brain that he's now the pillow. And it's this whole thing. And then this old woman comes out the door, and like he like really quick like gets some shit together, and he's like, oh, let me help you.
All I can think of is Grandma's Boy.
Yeah.
Where the mom walks in on him jerking off in the bathroom.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever seen that.
If you like Anchorman, you'll love Grandma's Boy.
Okay.
I can't believe.
Is that an Adam Sandler movie?
No, it's got a lot of the people that are. It is a Happy Madison Productions film, but
Gotcha.
Adam Sandler's not in it.
Okay. So he gets himself together and he grabs her suitcase, and she was like, oh, what a nice young man. Can you also get me a taxi? And he was like, yeah, of course. I'm a good Samaritan. Nothing going on here. Taxi. And that's it. That's the end of the scene. He goes home, whatever. Next day, he's like, how can I get into her apartment? And he was like, oh, well, if I call in that there's a gas leak, they have to come check it out. It's not that they can be like, no, there's not. Boom. So while she's at school, he shows up to the apartment. The guy's there checking for a gas leak, and he opens the door and he's like, Beck, honey, what did we talk about? Not leaving your door just open for anybody to walk in. And the guy checking for the gas leak's like, oh, she's not here. And he was like, oh, well, okay, is there anything wrong? And he's pretending to be her boyfriend. And the guy's like, no, the gas leak, there's not one. Everything's great. Toodles. He just leaves Joe in the apartment, so Joe starts going through her shit. And he's looking through things, and he was like, oh my gosh, frozen meals. Beck, when we're living together, I'm going to cook you a home-cooked meal every single night.
Did he sniff the pillow?
He does a lot of things. He sniffs the pillow, he's stealing panties, he's looking through her laptop, and she has a lot of selfies of herself, like, oh, Beck, you're better than this. Like, who are you trying to show off for? The internet? Boys? You have my attention. That's all you need, Beck. Yeah.
Somebody says this is from a show or something. I'm confused. Yeah, we're not doing relationship shit tonight,
No.
guys. I mean, we might later, but right now we're literally just talking about the TV show You. Peaches, I've never watched it. She's given me her rendition of the very first episode. We are drinking,
Yeah.
and we are just hanging out. We don't have a lot of real life friends.
We're hanging out with you guys tonight.
Yes. Tonight, you guys are our real life friends.
Let's see. So, night ends. He goes home. Paco's sitting on the staircase again. But this time, instead of Paco's mom and the boyfriend fighting, they're fucking. And you can hear it.
Well, if you can hear him fighting, you can hear him fucking.
Yeah. And Joe's like, hey, Paco's, how's the night going? And then his mom moans, and Paco's like, everything's great, Joe. Everything's awesome. And Joe's like, well, how are you doing with that book that I gave you? And he's like, oh, I finished it. And then his mom moans again. And he was like, do you want to come to the bookstore with me? And they leave. So they go to the bookstore, and he gives him Monte Cristo. And
Great book.
Great book. And Paco's like, well, what's this book about? And he's like, it's about revenge.
It is the best revenge story ever fucking told.
Yes, it is. And he gives it to Paco for a reason. They both hate his stepfather, or not really his stepdad because they're not married, but they both hate the person that his mom is with. He's a CO officer. He's a drunk. He's a piece of shit. He 100% abuses his power of his position and beats on women. So he gives him this book on revenge, and he was like, read it. It's a great read. They hang out. Paco gets to see the glass cage where all the books are hidden. And Paco's like, well, why do you have this down here? Like, what is the point of this? And Joe kind of starts to retell the story of what Mr. Mooney told him. So Joe has a really fucked up childhood. His mom was kind of like a man hopper. The same day that she would break up with a dude, she's with a new man, and she was like, oh, Joe, this is your new dad. Yeah. And she only really got with abusive men, so he watched her get beat on, all of these other kinds of things. She would abandon him for hours at a time. There's a scene where they're at the pier, and she was like, all right, Joe, here's some money. I'm going to be right back. And then she's gone for 4 hours, and Joe's just walking around this pier in California by himself as a 6-year-old. So when he's 14, 15 years old, he's homeless. And Mr. Mooney took him in. And Mr. Mooney was teaching him the value of old books and all these other kinds of things. And the humidity has to be just right. And we can't have the lights too bright. And the books are brittle, and we have to take care of them like they're babies. Like, he took it very, very seriously. And Joe is passing this knowledge down onto Paco. And Paco's just absorbing all of it. He's loving everything that's going on. So that's kind of like a little bonding moment between Joe and Paco. So, like, you're right. He is a good dude.
You're just damaged.
Underneath the
How old is
stalking
Paco?
women. I would say Paco's 10, 11.
Okay.
Old enough to be able to go to the store by himself if he wanted to, those kinds of things.
Okay, well, see, that doesn't count, though, because I was old enough to go to the store by myself when I was fucking 6. But that was the 80s. Very different time frame. Like,
yeah.
I couldn't imagine our kids riding our bikes to a store.
God, no.
Right.
No. I just went over all of that, scrolling down a little bit. So they leave the bookstore, they come back to the apartment building, and as they're walking up, so here's Joe's apartment and here's Paco's apartment. They're literally side by side, and then there's another staircase that heads up. And Ron is the name of this super abusive dude who was beating on his mom. Ron standing outside the door like, Joe, what the fuck you doing with my woman's kid? And he was like, well, he was sitting out here and he could hear everything. So I took him to the bookstore. And he's like, stay the fuck away from my kid. If I ever see you near him again, I'm going to beat the shit out of you. Like, really aggressive. And Paco's like, I'll see you later, Joe. Thanks for the book. And just goes inside. And Joe's like, all right, and well, fuck me, I guess, trying to be a good dude, helping a kid, whatever, Ron. And then goes into his apartment. That's kind of the end of the thing. There's a lot of hostility happening. Let's see.
I feel like a high-class broad drinking whiskey out of a Spider-Man cup.
Yeah, you should. It could be a red Solo cup. A little bit more insight. He's still offended that Beck hasn't mentioned anything about meeting the super cool dude at the bookstore. He's like, so our interaction really meant nothing to you. You just flirt with everybody that you see, you hussy. Moving on, we see a little bit of Beck's life. She's in the professor's office, and he's like, you know what, Beck, you're really just not doing the thing. You seem overwhelmed. You seem like you can't handle things. Maybe we should move you from TA and just have you focus on your studying. And she's like, no, that can't happen. Without my TA position, I can't afford my apartment. And without my apartment, I have nothing. And he's like, okay, well, if you need some counseling, I can help you with that counseling. Like, super creepy. And he's like, we can meet up for dinner tonight. And she was like, but what would your wife say if you meet up with a girl like me for dinner? And he's like, my wife knows that I'm passionate about helping my students. So she's like, okay. And then flash forward to dinner. Joe's knows what's going on. And at the dinner, the professor tries to make a move on her. Like he's rubbing his hand up her thigh, trying to go underneath her skirt. She causes a whole scene at dinner. I'm not doing this. Don't touch me. I'm leaving. And this whole thing happens. And then she walks out. She goes home. Joe, at some point between the dinner and before she comes home, he breaks into her apartment again. And when she comes through the front door, he's like, I can't leave because there's only one way out and you'll see me. So he hides behind the shower curtain. Yeah. And she comes into the bathroom and she throws her phone down and she just starts crying. And she leans over and she turns the shower on. So now Joe is just getting wet in his day clothes, which is an absolute nightmare for me. I don't know how he didn't have an autistic meltdown.
Well,
Bro just has different mental illness than I do.
Clearly.
And as she's standing there crying, she gets a FaceTime call from her friend Peach and the other chick who has Instagram followers. And they're like, oh my God, you should come hang out with us. We're doing a girls' night. And Becca's like, you know what? No, I'm not really feeling up to it. My professor just tried to make a move on me. My life is falling apart. I'm a mess. Nobody loves me. Nobody cares about me. I have nobody in my corner. And her friends are like, just forget all of that and come hang out with us. And Beck's like, no, you know what we should do? Meet me at this club where people do poetry slam. And I want to read my work.
Okay.
And they're like, no, we don't really want to do that. And Peach is like, come on. Not Peach. Beck is like, come on. If you really love me and you were really my friends, you'll meet me here and support me. I'm having a really, really hard day. And they're like, okay, we love you. We'll see you there. Bye. And then she shuts off the water. She gets ready and she heads out. And Joe's like,
Pause 1 second.
okay.
Marcus Elliott is in the chat. Haven't got to say that in a while because I haven't seen him here, but he's here. He said hello. Just for tradition, can't let that one go.
Yes.
Been doing that since the beginning.
I love that. How are we feeling about?
This feels like psychotic middle school drama.
Okay.
However, have you ever actually seen a poetry slam?
Yeah.
They're amazing.
Oh, yeah. They get pretty intense.
Yeah. Russell Simmons, the owner of Def Jam, had Def Comedy Jam, Def Poetry Jam. Mm-hmm. And I had all of those fucking Def Poetry Jam sessions on DVD when DVDs were still a thing.
Right.
I fucking loved that shit. And like some of those guys ended up going into movies. Some of those guys ended up trying to make music. You know, Saul Williams had actually had a whole movie at one point, but I actually really enjoy that stuff.
Oh yeah. It gets pretty very emotional. People put a lot into their poetry.
Yep.
I love, that's one of my doom scrolls when I'm on YouTube Shorts is poetry slam. Yeah. Oh, pardon me.
Yep, I used to write that shit back in the day.
Me too. Yep.
Buff Bell said Def Poetry Jam was incredible. There was a guy that did one. His name was Flowetry, and it was called They Call Me Drama. I think it was Flowetry that did that one. There was one called The Unknown Soldier that was done by Black Ice, and then there was another one that was done by Tyler Molly that was about being a teacher. And those three that they did, They Call Me Drama, The Unknown Soldier, or whatever he called that one, which is about him being a parent who was not able to be around his kid because of the mom.
Oh, wow.
And then the teacher one were the ones that stood, like I will still go back and watch those after, 25 years.
That's dope.
Yep. I might be wrong on that. The Black Ice one may not have been The Unknown Soldier. It might have been a different one, but it was by Black Ice. I know that he tried to make an album and try to make a thing into music, but his poetry didn't transfer over to music.
Yeah.
It didn't have the same feeling to it. Is that the end of it?
No.
Oh.
I didn't know when you were going to be done with your thing, or if you were going to keep reading comments or something.
I only got on the poetry thing because she wanted to go to Slam thing.
So now we're at the poetry slam. Joe, of course, is in his baseball cap. He's sitting a few tables away. And Beck and two of her friends, Peach, and we're just going to call her Anna. I don't think that's her real name, but that's what's coming to mind. They're all sitting together and they're like, Beck, do you really want to be doing this right now? And she was like, yeah, no, this feels like really good. I just have to get one more drink in me. You can tell she's already tipsy. And she slams another drink. And she was like, so I texted Benji. And Peach is like, oh my God, you're still texting that asshole? Really? And their friend Anna's like, come on, don't be so mean about it. And she was like, no, she gave me permission to remind her that that dude's an asshole. She should not be speaking to him. I don't know what she's doing. And Becca's like, I just let him know that I'm doing this. He's really into poetry. And he said he would be here in 45 minutes, and that was an hour ago. But he's really busy, but I have faith that he's going to show up. He really likes poetry. And then it cuts to her going on stage. And Joe is like, I really hope that this goes well for you. Like, I'm really hoping. And then she starts doing her thing, and it's really sad. So I'm just going to read to you a little blurb of what she writes. And it says, you get dressed and you put on your sneakers. You drive to a low building with bright signs. You order tall drinks. You pay for your food, making mountains. You watch everything at 3 a.m. happening outside the window, and it is you. It is all you. It is all you, and you will feel this way until you grow out of it. And you will feel this way until you fall into some sense of the world. You loved him the way fragile kids love gorgeous bullies. You write poems about him. You still write poems about him. You're writing one right now about him. And then some dude in the background goes, oh my God, why are you so sad?
Does he actually sound like that? Or are you just making fun of people?
Kind of sound like that, okay. Yeah. And he was like, it's just so sad. Can we bring somebody back who's happy? And she, the world kind of disorients, and you can tell that she's drunk, and she just keeps reading her poem. And then her friends start shit talking her. And Joe's like, these aren't your friends. I don't. Your life is a mess. My goodness, Beck. What is going on right now? And the night ends horribly. Benji never shows up. And cut scene, they're now in the New York subway. He follows her down there. It's him, it's her, and it's some homeless guy just singing in a corner. And she's standing there, right at the yellow line that you're not supposed to pass unless there's a train there. And she's texting Benji, why didn't you show up for me? This was really important, and you were supposed to be here, you asshole. And Joe's like, why are you reaching out to him? You're holding that phone like you wish it was him, and I'm right here, Beck. And she's getting closer and closer to the train tracks. And of course, she falls in. Yeah? She falls into the train tracks. And the homeless man is singing louder and louder. And Joe's like, do I do anything? Do I step in? Do I make myself known? Do I not? What the fuck do I do right now? And then a train horn happens. And the homeless man starts shouting, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up, making it super intense. And she's just laying on the train tracks, drunk. So he jumps down. He rescues her. He pulls her back up right as the train hits through. And she's like, oh my God, you saved my life. And he gets her into a taxi cab. And she was like, this is so embarrassing. And he's like, what? And he was like, she's like, I think I know you. And he was like, I don't know what you're talking about. And she was like, the book that she bought was Desperate Characters by Paula Fox or whatever her name was. And she was like, Paula Brown, whatever. And she was like, Desperate Characters. And he was like, oh yeah, I remember you came to the bookstore and we had that little exchange. Oh my goodness, crazy small world. She was like, you totally saved my life tonight. And all of these other things. And then she starts looking for her phone. She's like, oh my God, I must have left it in the train tracks. I'm such a silly goose.
He has her phone, doesn't he?
He has her phone. And they pull up to her house, and guess who's there? Benji. Opens up the door, gets her out, and he was like, hey, homie, thanks for saving my chick. Oh, you won. And Joe's like, fuck this guy. Can't stand this dude. She gets out. They go upstairs. They do their thing. Let me scroll down just a little bit.
Tara said, Peach remembers the story like she wrote that motherfucker. I'm impressed. I don't think you guys understand how much she's watched this show.
I really have.
I can't, like, I don't do TV the way that you do TV.
And it's really not even just doing TV. I listen to it as I complete
It's
other
background
tasks.
noise. Yeah. It is your background noise. I'm going to sneeze. Set that down. Okay. I'm not going to sneeze. Her name was Anika.
Anika, that's what it is. Yep.
Laura from Australia says, hello from Australia. Found you both a few months ago and have been binge watching the videos on YouTube.
I love that.
Thank you for that.
I hope you're enjoying the content.
Mike Poppin, what's up, dude? Instead of eating a whole bag of Sun Chips, I had a protein shake and I still want the whole bag of Sun Chips. Good call on the protein shake.
Drink some water.
Yep. Buff Bell said hers is The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
I don't have a background noise like that. I would rather do an audiobook. I know that I'm lucky in that I don't need to focus on the audiobook. I really don't need to focus on my task at hand because I can do a lot at the same time with the way my brain works. And that's not always the case. There's times where I really have to stop and pay attention, but I don't do the way the way you do. Like your shit is always on.
Yeah, I can't just live in silence. It's hard for me to go to bed sometimes.
Yeah, I get that. Same way.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot.
Tara asked if you were going to read Manacled. I don't know what that is.
I don't know what that is either.
Jody said random, but would Peach ever write a book kind of like you did, Chris?
So I have actually 2 books that I am racking around in my brain. I almost picked up my laptop today and started typing some things out, but I'm not really there yet. The first book that I want to write is definitely going to be a self-help book, but the second book that I want to write is going to be more of a fiction-based. A woman in a mental institution whose husband had passed away. And her only escape from the torture that's happening in the mental institution is the memory she has with her husband. And then she recognizes that she didn't appreciate him as she should have in his life.
I think that'll do well.
I hope so.
You pull on all the heartstrings.
Yeah.
Yep. You know what helped me with my book is I wrote, like, I planned out my chapters. Like, what are 10 things that I really want to talk about? And that's what I did. Like,
that's overwhelming for me.
Is it? Why?
And thinking about sitting down and writing 1 page of the book is overwhelming for me because there's so much information in my mind that I want to get out. I don't know where to start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I did my layout and like I wasn't sure where my chapters were going to go. And as I started writing, those chapters changed. But I was like, here's 10 things that I'm passionate enough that I can talk about. And then I talk to text some of it to get it out, like as I was driving or whatever. and it would put it in my little notepad on Google Documents, and then I would just go back in and correct it and expound on it, and then I would reread it, and then I would add stuff as I was reading, and add stuff I was, but
Yeah.
I don't know if that would ever help you, but that's what I did.
I mean,
It
I
worked
can
for me.
definitely try something like that.
It's a Harry Potter fanfic.
I'm never gonna read that.
Megan Hill said, I just got the Celestine Prophecy from the library thanks to Chris's recommendation. You'll enjoy that. At least
It's a really good read.
I think so. I think it is.
I love that book.
I don't know anybody who ever read that book and be like, meh.
That was stupid.
Yeah. I've never heard that, not once.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jody said, also, I was the first live email read call you guys ever did and listened to it back again today to see what I thought now. And it was so cool. So thank you guys for that. Hell yeah. All right. You don't like fanfic stuff? Is that what you just said?
Yeah, I don't like fan fiction.
Really?
Yeah.
Why not?
Because it's not real to me. Right? So if I read the Harry Potter series, that all came from an author. From one person who created that universe. And I know there's a whole conspiracy theory of J.K. Rowling didn't write the Harry Potter series. She's just the face of it and all these other kinds of things. But fan fiction is not part of that universe to me. That's people making up things to add to a story that makes them feel better about it. And I think that's dope, but I don't want to read fan fiction.
It's so wild how different we are in that.
Yeah.
Do you remember Adam that used to come to the comic book store? Really tall guy. He was a chef. He was one of Forrest's really close friends. He did not have red hair. Wore glasses. He was a food snob, but he was like a legit
I'd have
chef.
to see his face.
He moved to Mass. He's actually a friend of the tattoo shop, and
Yeah.
so anyways, he was a big Game of Thrones nerd, and that's how I connected to him, because he came into the tattoo shop and was getting a House Stark tattoo.
Yeah.
And this was when Game of Thrones had not made it to TV yet.
Oh wow, so it's still just books.
Yeah. And I was like, what you doing over there? What is this? And because
Did we just become best friends?
Immediately.
Yup.
Immediately. We hard.
Yeah.
But that fanfic and the what if scenarios of the books and the show, because it hadn't come out yet, created a bond with Adam that I was able to have a lot of really fun, imaginative conversations, and it did it for me.
Now, if it was like a fanfic of Harry Potter's children and a whole new universe being created, I'll fuck with that. But if it was Harry Potter actually got with, what was her name? Cho, and now they have a family together and it's a whole new alternate universe. I'm not interested in that because that's not real. That's not the story. You guys are creating something to make yourself feel better about what's going on with the series.
I guess that kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Because that has already been laid out.
Right. He didn't get with Cho or however her name was pronounced.
Yeah.
That fizzled out. She got with Cedric Diggory. Cedric Diggory died and they never talked again. I think they had some in passing whatevers, but there was really never any spark brought back after his passing.
Yeah.
And then he got with Jenny.
Maybe the reason that I enjoyed that so much with Adam is because it was so unknown.
Yeah.
Because when the show got released, they were only on, I think, the fourth book, whatever the last book that he had written for the series had just come out.
Mm-hmm.
And then they announced the show, and it came out a year after that book. And I knew we were never going to get the finished series of the book. It was only going to be the show. But all our conversations weren't an alternate reality of what was being written. It was the what if of the storyline. And there was a whole lot of fan theory and all of that is, I think, probably why I enjoyed it so much.
Yeah. You want to jump back into this?
Sure.
We're almost done.
I'm having fun.
So Joe saved her life. He gets back home. Paco's sitting on the staircase crying.
What happened? That fucking kid, dude.
He's going through it.
Why hasn't Joe beat that dad's ass yet?
Because he can't.
Why?
He's not strong enough.
Pussy. You don't have to be strong. You just gotta hit him in the throat.
Yeah.
Really well placed.
Well,
we'll do the job.
Ron gets his comeuppance later on in the show.
Okay.
But he comes home, Paco's sitting on the staircase crying, and we can hear Ron raging inside of the building. And Paco's like, Joe, I'm so sorry. And Joe's freaking out like, oh my God, like what happened? Are you hurt? Are you okay? What's going on? We can hear his mom getting beat. And Ron's like, no. I mean, Paco's like, no, he hasn't touched me, but the book. And he shows Joe the book. Ron had ripped out several pages from the Monte Cristo book that he had given him.
What a dick.
And Paco was like, he was yelling at me like, what, you think you're smarter than me because you read books? Fuck you, kid, and was ripping these pages out. And he was like, Joe, I'm so sorry. I should have never brought this home. And Joe's like, this isn't your fault. And he's like, everything is fixable. Come with me back to the shop. Just totally ignores everything Ron told him before and takes him back to the library. And Joe was actually taught by Mr. Mooney how to mend antique books like that. So they take the binding apart, they reinsert the pages, he shows him the glue and the hammer and all these other kinds of things. And it's another bonding moment between him and Paco of them fixing this book together. And they do that whole thing. It's a moment, scene cuts, and now it's back to Benji and Benji's work associate making this homemade artisanal soda brand or whatever. And Benji's like, oh my God, bro, I just got retweeted by like the biggest artisanal soda dude ever. And he's like, his friend's like, oh my goodness. He's of Indian descent from East Asia. And he was like, that's fantastic. Like, let's go meet this guy. He was like, hold on, homie. Like, I thought we talked about this. I'm going to be the face of the brand because, you know, they want to see a dude who looks like me. Yeah. Kind of just totally shits on the guy. And this dude's like, that's really not what we talked about. What do you mean? Like, this isn't what I signed up for. He's like, I'm going to go meet the dude. I'll update you what's going on. Deuces. He goes, picks up some beer.
Did he actually do that?
No.
Okay.
But that's the vibe.
Okay. So he's a fuckface.
Yeah.
Okay.
My whole rendition
Ultimate
of this
Chad.
show is not pure you. This is through the filter of Peaches.
Okay. I just had to ask.
No. Yeah, no, that wasn't a thing. So he goes, he picks up some beer, and he's like walking down this back alleyway, and guess who he's approaching? Joe. Joe created a fake Twitter account to match this famous dude, tweeted at Benji and was like, hey bro, DM me. Maybe we can meet up, collab, make some money. He meets Joe in the back of this alley.
In an alley. Meet me in an alley.
Yeah. And Joe's like, yeah, no, it's this like super secret, top of the line. You have to know a password to get into the place. And Benji's like, yeah, no, I know. I've been here before. What are you talking about? Of course I'm in the know of things like this. And they start walking to this place, and Benji starts getting this weird feeling. He's like, you know what? Maybe like I forgot something. I'm just gonna... And then Joe knocks him out. And then Benji wakes up in the cage.
In the glass box?
We're in the glass box.
So they introduced that into the very first show, and it's continued through the whole thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Real quick before you continue, so, I don't know who was talking about the fan fiction, but they said it was Draco and Hermione that the fan fiction was about, and it's not smut. I'm kind of keeping up with the chat. Not
Yeah.
really, because I don't give a fuck about Harry Potter, but would that interest you?
No.
Okay.
Draco is such a dick to Hermione. I really don't see any world. She's like, oh yeah, you just insulted me all these other times, but I'm going to look over it because of your sex appeal.
Why sex appeal?
Why else would they get together? He really does not provide anything to her besides being a massive asshole.
That's a lot of kids. That's a lot of young men.
Okay, so this is a relationship between two children, like when they're in the earlier books, 12, 13 years old.
Well, I have no idea if it was in the earlier. I don't know. I don't know enough Harry Potter lore to even speak on that.
Yeah.
But I do know that by the time that the last movie was made, they were old.
Oh gosh, yeah. The actors themselves were in like their 20s.
If they were still kids, they didn't fucking look like kids anymore.
No.
So, but you know, I just young men are fucking stupid when it comes to trying to talk to a woman.
Yeah.
And that whole bully pick on the girl that you like thing is very much a thing for a lot of young men. So I don't know. I'm just curious if that would change.
Fan fiction doesn't interest me. Not really, no.
I'm learning new stuff about you, so I'm asking because I would like to know new shit.
Well, that's neat. Thanks for continuing to be interested in me. I appreciate
You
that.
let me touch your butt. As long as you let me touch your butt,
Anytime
I'm always
you
going to be
want to.
interested.
Yeah. This is free servings. Don't even have to ask.
Yeah. What a weird statement.
Yeah, that just really threw me off guard.
Sorry, guys. I don't want more content. I just want my mama to be alive and happy. That's it. Well, I'm sure that you do. Although I have no idea why you would be on here watching our content and then make a statement like that. If that's actually what you wanted, why are you here? Are you looking for a distraction? And if you are looking for a distraction, why bring that to the chat?
And say you don't want more content.
Right.
Yeah.
Somebody, again, it was moving, and we were talking about other things. But I also said that I saw that somebody said that the Paco relationship is the only healthy relationship in the whole show. And was
I'm trying to think through the 4 series that are out now. In the book, I don't recall if Paco is a thing in the book.
Okay.
I'm on book 4 now, so there's a lot of information in my mind.
Well, we know that they add a whole lot of shit into screenwrites to make people invested in the show.
Mm-hmm.
But if that's the case, was Joe abused?
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Well, that would make sense.
Massively abused.
That he's trying to protect that young man.
The child, yeah.
Yeah. The that silo. Hang on real quick. Angelique Hawkins, are there any updates on the up phone? I have it. I have the up phone. I got everything situated yesterday. The new line is connected. I went through and checked things. I have not used the phone a lot. I got a really dope picture of my wife on it now. God forbid I ever open that phone in public because, oh my word.
Yeah.
Wallpaper, screenshot, the back paper, whatever you want to call it. Oh my God. Lock screen is you're plastered. I'm making some old people blush.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be fucking.
I love that.
Anyways,
Is that your new personal phone, or
I
was replaced with a mushroom on the other one?
I haven't. Well, it's still a mushroom on that one. I haven't used that phone enough to say if it's going to be a personal phone. I downloaded all the apps. It shows you the privacy ratings of the apps.
Gotcha.
And there's kill switches on the phone. So like if you put that phone into a charging port at the airport and the charging port has a small like computer inside of it, it can download or upload data to your phone without you knowing it.
What the fuck?
So that up phone, you can turn that off so that your USB port is only a charging port. You can turn off your what is it? The NFC, the Apple Pay thing.
Mm-hmm.
You can literally shut down every aspect of the phone. You can kill your camera so that your camera's not on, and it's through the software of the phone instead of the actual like settings.
Right.
So like people can hack your phone and view through your camera all the time. That's why I make it a point to bend over and show my butthole to the camera every morning when I dry my feet off, just in case somebody's looking through my phone.
Right.
The reality is there's probably nobody ever looking through the camera on my phone, but if they ever do, they're going to see my brown eye at least once a day.
Yeah.
Zero fucks.
That kind of bothers me.
What?
That's my butt. Like I get that they're security breaching right now, and it's fuck you to them.
It is. Nobody wants to see that hairy Sasquatch butt and dingleberries and shit. It's funny. That's funny.
Man ass does it for me.
Yeah.
Your man ass, yeah, hot as fuck.
I'll take it.
Over there look like apple dumplings. Smack that.
I can't believe
all
that
on the
people
floor,
watch this
smack
stupid
that,
shit.
And I made some more. Yeah.
All right, I'm ready for the rest of this show.
Okay. I was just thinking, I really am just straight as fuck. It's just, everything about you does it for me. Your hairy elbows, like.
I don't have hair on my elbows. I almost looked. I don't have hair on my elbows. It's not possible.
Double check.
No, because I don't want to look dumb. I don't have no hair on my elbows.
Okay, come here, Lila.
That's like saying there. It's like saying the hair on the knuckle thing. There's two ways to tell if you're going to have a child that's mentally handicapped. One is having hair on your knuckles, and two is looking for it.
You jealous bitch. You've been laying down this whole time. Gotta pick up your butt, Lilo. There we go.
You never heard that when you were younger?
No.
No. Well, I had asshole parents.
Well, I knew like if you counted the veins on your arms, that's how many children you would have. The amount of visible veins that you can see. I mean, mine was pretty accurate.
I don't have any kids. If that's true, my one child is not my one child. Because you can't see any of my veins. Never could. Never could. It was always too much of a chunky monkey for that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Do it, Lilo. Yawn.
Jenny said, I love this shit, laughing my fucking ass off. It's the laugh we needed. All right.
Okay, so back into the show. Benji is now just living in the glass case, doing the thing.
Is he in there doing like push-ups and shit?
No, he's losing his damn mind.
No.
Yeah.
Rookie.
He's not okay.
Are there books in there?
Yes, there's still books in there.
What's wrong?
Right. He doesn't read though.
Of course.
We'll get to that point. But Joe's just carrying on life as normal, and the whole basement's soundproof.
Is Joe feeding him?
Yeah, Joe's feeding him. Not the things he wants, but he's getting fed. He's getting like croissants and shit. But Joe's just living life as normal. So the bookstore's open, selling books. He has a captive downstairs. Nobody knows about it. Door's locked. He's the only one who has a key. And Beck walks in. And he's like, oh, Beck, I knew you couldn't stay away. And she was like, hey, it's me, the drunk girl from the train tracks. I bought Desperate Characters. Just wanted to thank you for saving my life. And she gives him a book. And on the inside of it is whatever the homeless man was shouting at them. As she drunkenly fell into the train tracks. And she was like, this is such a cute memory of us. I just had to give it to you. And he's like, I'm going to cherish it forever, Beck. And they do this whole thing. It's a very short interaction. She leaves and Ethan's like, bro, she's so fucking into you. Like feeding into it without knowing that Joe's super obsessive about things. And Joe's like, yeah, I know. Just shut the fuck up, Ethan.
That's funny.
And then...
I know. Shut the fuck up.
He looks at Ethan and Joe's like, hey, I got some books I have to tend to downstairs. I'm going to be busy for the next few hours. Man the store. I trust you, and heads downstairs. And Benji's in the cage and he's like, I promise whoever you think I am, I'm not that person. And Joe's like, yes, you are. And that's the end of the show. End of the first episode.
So I've watched bits. I've watched bits and pieces of the show, and it's not held my interest.
No.
At all.
Okay.
It feels like a weird stalker chick flick to me.
Yeah.
And there's all of that drama doesn't do it for me, but this was pretty entertaining.
Oh, hell yeah. I told you it was going to be. You want to do a second episode sometime?
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe.
I'm down to do that. I feel like I tell things better.
Yeah. Why didn't he like try to talk to her when she brought the book? Like, why wasn't there like a, hey, want to go out to dinner sometime? Or like, hey, I saved your life. The least you can do is cook me a meal.
So when they were in the cab, there was kind of like, hey, can I get your number? And she was like, I don't really text that much, but you can have my email. And he got her email. And he emailed her, and there was really radio silence. He starts checking her phone, reading messages between her and her best friend. She never logs out of her iCloud, so he has access to everything.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
It's so funny how it does this.
This was just the first episode, Janae. Correct. That's it. That's the first episode. Absolutely bonkers.
TV show breakdowns with Peach. Entire duration of the show. I literally thought this was the entire season.
Nope. It took me just as long to, I mean, we had some bullshitting back and forth. The episodes are about 45 minutes long to an hour, so it took me about that long to reiterate it.
Why do you go back and forth between that and a show like BoJack Horseman? What do you get from you that, because I understand the allure of BoJack Horseman for you.
Right.
Right? Like, as much as you've mentioned it and why you watch that show, I get that.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you obsessed with you?
It's the psychological breakdown of fucked up people. Everybody in the show has something wrong with them. Beck as a person is broken. Her father abandoned her when she was younger because he was addicted to drugs. And because of that, she's very attention seeking from men. And it has massive fallout in her life because of that. I don't think she has a true identity of who she is as a person. She presents herself as what she thinks will be the sexiest to the men around her. And it's the flaw portrait of the people painted in the show that attracts me to watch it again and again. It's just a comfort thing for me.
Okay, so then what's up with the chick that's wanting to pay for everything?
You really want to know?
Yeah.
She's in love with Beck, but she can't come out as a lesbian because she's a Salinger.
Okay. That's not where I thought that was going to go. But I definitely, as soon as you mentioned her trying to pay that back, I took that as a, you're poor and I'm not. So let me hold this over your head that I can do that you can't, and like take care of you, like a God complex kind of thing.
No, she wants to be the provider for everything for Beck. She's very much in love with her and wants to whisk her away and provide her with this lavish life and have Beck never worry about anything ever again.
Okay, so then is she not willing to come out as a lesbian because she's afraid she's going to lose her money?
That she's going to get disowned by her family.
So she's willing to choose that lifestyle over the person she loves?
Yeah.
That's fucking pathetic.
Yeah. Multiple houses she gets to go to.
Who gives a shit?
All of this money that she has. She's able to buy whatever she wants whenever she wants. There's a point in the show where she is like, Beck, we're going to Paris. I bought us tickets. My dad said we can take over the apartment. Whatever. Like, she really was born with a silver spoon in her mouth and she has whatever she wants. She doesn't want to give that up.
I mean, she doesn't want the woman bad enough, I guess. Did you know that they did a new, okay, if you guys have watched The Count of Monte Cristo, the remake that they did with the guy who played Jesus in The Passion of the Christ.
Love that dude's acting.
I can't think of his name to save my life.
He's just
right now.
Jesus at this point.
If you guys have watched that, put a 1 in the chat. I'm just curious as to who has seen the 90s remake or early 2000s remake of The Count of Monte Cristo.
Is that the one we watched?
It is.
I really like that movie.
They did a new one.
Really?
They did a new remake that dropped in 2024, but it's only in French. It didn't get released anywhere else.
Huh.
And I've looked because I was hoping I would be able to download a copy of it or find something, and I guess it just didn't do a whole lot. And obviously it's in French, but
That'd be a really good way for us to practice our French.
I would watch that over and over and over again. I'm very curious as how well they did it. I would love to see.
I bet they did fantastic.
A new rendition of that.
I mean, the whole thing takes place in France, so there's I almost sat down and watched a whole movie that's only in French, and I'd have to watch English subtitles.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it's called, but it's about this massive shark that swims in the I want to say Seine, but that's not how it's pronounced. That river that goes through Paris. And they're about to have a massive, not triathlon, but people are getting ready to like have a swimming competition in the river. And there's this shark taking out people. And the police are trying to warn.
Is it a B movie?
Huh?
Is it a B movie?
Oh, I have no idea.
Like, it's not like a high quality. Like, is
oh,
it
no,
a
it looked
Sharknado?
very well done.
Okay.
It looked very well done.
Okay. I never know with you. You like B movies, so
I love them so much. Sharknado's so great. I like the one that has Billy Ray Cyrus in it.
Yeah, there's a time and place for B movies. I think B horror movies are probably my cap of B movies.
Really?
Yeah. The reason I asked about the Count of Monte Cristo is because most people don't know that the son of Mercedes is Henry Cavill, the guy that plays Superman in the Superman movies, the new DC
Really?
Superman movies. Yeah, he's the Witcher.
I was say, didn't he play the white hair dude?
Yeah, he was the Witcher. All right, real quick, there's a question here. How would you handle if your partner wishes to keep around an ex? You voice you don't feel comfortable about it, but they say that's your perspective. You're being insecure.
I'm gonna need a whole lot more context than that. Do they have children together?
Yeah.
Is the ex ill and there's a concern going on?
Yeah, I think that you should send an email if you guys want help. With LL Cool J with the parrot. No, that was Deep Blue Sea.
I like that one too. I love that the cook survived the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Love that movie.
There was something else that I wanted to cover while you were talking about you, and it's gone now. It was the Count of Monte Cristo. Oh, when you were talking about B movies just now, there is a B zombie movies are probably my favorite B movies, and like slasher films.
Shaun of the Dead was good.
Specifically ones that come from like Australia and New Zealand.
Hell yeah.
Their like sense of humor is fucking jaded.
They're built different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't think of the name of the movie right now, but I watched and it's been a while since I've seen it, but this movie starts off with a dude getting head in a truck, and when he's done, he throws the head out the window. And that's the start of the fucking movie. Yeah. It's a horror film. Like it.
That sounds like some. Have you ever seen the Wax Museum?
Where the town is people covered in wax. Like
they kidnap people, cover them in wax.
Wasn't that called House of Wax?
The House of Wax. That's what it was. That feels very House of Wax to me.
Yeah.
Specifically the redneck dude who has that massive truck. He would do some shit like that.
Yeah, they teach you in the movies to be afraid of rednecks.
Oh, yeah.
But during the apocalypse, those are the people you're running to and not
darn
from.
To, and we're going to go straight out to Ocala and be like, we need help, homies. We got radios too. Help us. We got our own trucks. We just need the protection.
That's funny. Zach said, I think that movie was called Kangaroo Jack. I mean, if somebody's going to remember that movie, you'd know it.
Wait, Kangaroo Jack. I love that movie. That's the movie where two dudes find a kangaroo and they have to transport the kangaroo across Australia or something like that.
Definitely not the same movie I'm talking about.
Like the dude gets into a fist fight with the kangaroo, I think. It's been a hot minute. It's been like 2 decades since I've watched that.
Did you ever see the movie where the guy punches the fish? The zombie fish are trying to attack him and he's in a boat and he starts punching the fish out of the air and he starts shooting them?
I can't believe I've never seen that. He's punching zombie fish in the face.
There's a scene where he puts a lawnmower around his neck, like he puts the handle, like his head through the handle, and it's hanging off of his body, and he's walking into zombies with a lawnmower on. Zombie B movies are fucking fantastic for the stupidity. He has cowboy spurs, and something happens, and he does a flip and sticks his spurs into the door frame, and he's shooting zombies upside down from the door frame with his spurs stuck in the wall.
Right, because they stop him.
Yeah. Yeah, so fucking stupid.
It takes one zombie to bite his calf muscle.
Well, his calves are into the fucking wall. Like, he's upside down. His boot spurs are in the ceiling.
Right. Oh, the boot spurs are in the ceiling.
Yeah, so he's upside down shooting zombies through a doorway. It's so bad.
I feel like that I would use the spurs to kick the zombies.
Yeah, nope. He used them to stick himself to the wall. That same movie ends up turning out that the zombies are not only zombies, they're alien zombies at the end.
Fuck that.
Yeah.
Fuck that. Alien zombies?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? I don't do aliens, and now there's zombies. Get out of here. I don't know how I would make it.
That's funny.
I would just be strapped to you in a baby Bjorn, praying for the best.
Yeah. What was that sci-fi show that we were watching with the Professor Mason guy?
I don't remember names.
Where the kids were slowly becoming the aliens. Oh, what the fuck was the name of that show?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I don't think that you watched it. I think I put it on and you saw them skittering and you were like, nope, not watching this. I don't do
I
aliens.
must have repressed it because I don't even remember that.
Yeah. Yeah, you shut that shit down quick.
I don't do aliens. I really don't. You want to know why? Because they're fucking real. I know they exist somewhere, and I don't want to watch sci-fi fiction bullshit. Somebody told you about their experience and encounter, and you made a movie out of it. And you're putting a disclaimer on there not to cause mass panic.
You think they're conditioning us to make us okay with the reveal of zombies?
100%.
That's funny.
I think that they're trying to soft land everything. I believe in reptilians. You ever see Obama's eyes do the thing? Yeah.
It was not the faculty.
You gotta go potty, babies.
Hang on, I'm gonna pull it up.
I'm gonna take Ivy out to go potty, and then I go potty. Lilo knows what's up. She's gonna jump down. Okay. I want to watch Cocaine Bear. I see people like Zombiever and whatnot. My husband's told me no. Has anybody watched Cocaine Bear? I felt like that was I feel like that'd be a good watch.
That show was called Falling Skies.
Yeah, no. Fuck that.
That's
I gotta sit back down and tell you about this. So there was a time back in my young teenage years, I was dating a dude, and he was like, I planned a date night. We're gonna go see a movie. It's gonna be great. And we're sitting in the theater, and all these weird things start happening in the movie. I'm thinking, like, there's a demon in the house, there's a poltergeist, and then the kid starts drawing pictures of aliens. And I looked at him, I was like, fucker, did you bring me to an alien movie? He was like, I had no idea. I thought it was a ghost thing. And he paid for the tickets. Like, we couldn't just walk out the theater. This dude had no money. Could've. I felt guilty. I sat through this whole alien movie of children being abducted and, like, parents not knowing what's going on, and this child going to an alternate universe and all these other kinds of things. I was so upset. I was you could have done the bare minimum of researching. I don't ask for much. Don't take me to see alien things.
That's funny.
I was so upset.
That is funny. Oh man. Where can we watch Cocaine Bear? It was on Amazon Prime for a little while. I don't know if it's still on there or not. We still have 100 and something people watching us talking about fucking TV shows. How wild is that? So how is everybody's Friday night doing? Or Friday afternoon, depending on what you're watching. Why are you whimpering, Ivy Dog? Why are you whimpering? Come here. We don't run over there because she just stepped on my balls. Down. I know you're so excited. You're very talkative. No. Place. Go. I know. Salty ass. Listening to you guys and playing Power Wash Simulator. What a night. That sounds fun.
I heard you all the way in there. What are you going on about?
How are you liking the new schedule today that you guys made? So far the schedule is working out pretty well. And out they go. Bringing Leela with you. $3.99 to rent it on Amazon Prime. I have been buying movies on Amazon Prime just in case I enjoy them and I want to rewatch them. You figure normally you rent them, they're super cheap. It's like $4 or $5 more to just buy it. Why not just buy it? It's always going to be there. Haven't been on YouTube in a hot minute. Glad to catch the live. Hello, lovely people. Happy New Year's. Hello, Happy New Year's to you. Zach said, I guess Peach is the only person in the world that didn't like the new Green Lantern movie with Ryan Reynolds. That's funny. $14.99 to buy. Well, yeah, $3.99 versus $14.99. I wouldn't buy that. It's snowing. Hubs is watching the OSU and Texas game, and I'm watching this amazing live. Did you and Peach ever see The Pope's Exorcist? I don't fuck with demon or ghost shit. That's where you coward. I don't do the ghost thing. I don't do the demon thing. I can watch slasher films all day long. Moment we get into demons or like ghost stuff, I'm out.
It depends. It depends for me. Like I can watch The Conjuring all day, every day. But when it comes to like demons affecting children, can't do that.
How'd you do with Paranormal Activity?
Terrified me.
Same.
Terrified me. The moment they put the powder on the ground, it was like, and then it just stopped, and there were no footprints going out of the bedroom. Not playing that game. What?
Showing a whole lot of skin over there. I like it.
Yeah, I got your name too.
Woo!
Look at that. That's my husband's name, everybody. My favorite tattoo.
Harlot time.
Darn tootin'. It's hot in here after drinking that wine.
Yeah?
Yep. You want to come back up here, Lilo? You got to help me. Got a bad back.
Exorcist was phenomenal.
Yeah. Oh, you just want to sit like that? I'll rub your tummy.
Haley said, "Love the tolerance video today. Gave me more motivation to stop myself."
Hell yeah.
You've been what? It's been almost a month.
I smoked like a joint and a half in Vegas. That was it. A joint and a half over 7 days.
Yep. Those are big as fuck though, because they were.
Oh, yeah, they were fat.
Place. I don't want you walking around here messing with stuff. No ghosts, no aliens, no demons. What am I supposed to watch with you guys?
I mean, you can watch them with us separately. My husband can do alien movies all day.
Yeah, alien shit doesn't faze me a bit.
Terrifies me. The Greys, no thank you. Also, like little tiny aliens scare me too. I know I could just kick them, but like that means they can move more quietly through the house. So like they can get on my bed without me knowing.
That's funny. Every time Peach picks up the smaller dog, all I can think of is In the Arms of an Angel.
In the arms of the angels. And then whatever Sarah McLachlan says. That's who does it, right?
Yeah.
Sarah McLachlan? Yeah.
Did you watch Nope?
What is that?
Nope.
Huh?
I didn't.
I'm so confused. I thought you were asking me a question.
No, they did. Did you
The
watch
Mist.
Nope? There's a movie called Nope. The Mist was fucked up.
Terrified me.
It didn't scare me at all.
Terrified.
But the end of it, that was the
Messed up.
fucking most messed up ending of a movie ever.
I want to expose my age to you guys, but I was very impressionable still. And it was if you want your iPod early for your birthday, you're going to watch this movie. I was like, well, I want my iPod. It was an iPod Touch. It was brand new. And they're like, if you want it before your birthday, you're going to watch The Mist. And I was like, okay, because I want this thing. Traumatized me.
That tentacle that comes up through the door and goes. I was like, that was so well done.
Yep, scared the shit out of me.
You guys keep saying that we need to watch Tucker and Dale. I've seen it.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that too.
Please watch Pan's Labyrinth, Dark Fairy Tale. I've seen that also. I can't do The Mist solo because of the ending. The ending of that movie was probably one of the most fucked up endings of a movie I've ever seen.
What, The Mist?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Offed everybody he loved in that car only to be saved by the military.
Seconds later. Mm-hmm. Yep. Haven't watched Smile. I don't really care about horror films. Most of the time they're not scary. Most of the time they're
Very predictable.
A big disappointment, or they're very, very predictable.
Yeah.
When we flew to Vegas, I watched that stupid Halle Berry movie where they were tied to the porch.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
It's I can't even tell you the name of it. It was fucking stupid. It was like stupid. But I was on an airplane and there was nothing else on there. And like once I started watching it, I was committed. And all I could think of the entire time I was watching it was this mother's a schizophrenic and she's tortured her fucking kids in the woods. Yeah.
There was a movie that I watched. What was it? I can't remember what it was called, but it was a Tyler Perry movie. This black dude was dating a white chick, and he goes to visit her family on a remote location. And
You talking about Get Out?
Maybe.
I don't think that was a Tyler Perry movie, but
Maybe it was called Get Out.
where they possess the bodies with the older generation.
Yes,
yeah, it's
that's
Get Out.
what that was. Not what I expected that movie to be, and I was slightly disappointed with it. I was really expecting more horror from it. It was just.
I think that was Key and Peele.
Was it?
That did that? Yeah.
I mean, the plot twist was fantastic, but I was in the assumption that it was going to be a super scary kind of thing. It's like, oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
How did they figure out how to do that? More of like a sci-fi thing for me.
Somebody said I was watching horror films like Final Destination shit at the age of 6. Same. But it was Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, Halloween. Like that was my childhood.
Our children could never.
No, I know. I'm fully fucking aware. That shit messed me up when I was a kid. But I'm not affected by slasher films anymore.
Yeah.
And like I remember being afraid of going to bed at nighttime and shit, but like I had a water bed. And the only one of those movies that truly terrified me and didn't want to make me sleep was the one where Freddy came out of the
bed.
The bed, right.
Another movie that really messed me up was I think it was called Bugs or The Bug or whatever. That was another one of those films where I was like pressured to watch it as a younger person. And it messed me up. This dude ripped his tooth out of his mouth and all of these bugs started coming out of his jaw. They were in a hotel room and he was refusing to go to the dentist or something. Yeah. Yeah, it was I stopped watching after that. I went to my bedroom and I slept with my room on for 3 nights after that.
The tooth. Ugh.
Yeah. Yep. I don't want to talk about this anymore.
You want to do some cards?
We can do some cards. I just dropped a bunch.
That's okay.
I'm not picking them up right now.
That's okay also.
Oh, wow. These are very...
The Exorcist messed me up as a kid. I remember The Exorcist. I remember, you know what Poltergeist got me too? Poltergeist got me a lot when I was a kid. The whole Go to the Light Caroline where she's touching the fucking TV and like the creepy old guy with the hat that was found out later as an adult was going through cancer treatments, which was why he was so sick and deadly looking like when he did the show. Yeah. Yeah.
We're going to do some break the ice ones. Let's do that.
Okay.
Because those are all super intense and I don't want to do those yet. That's a stupid question. What's your go-to snack at the movies?
Probably Reese's Pieces.
Yeah.
But I actually try not to buy snacks when I go to the movies because they're way overpriced.
Right.
So I would prefer to bring my own.
Right. Yeah, I was just thinking if I'm sneaking shit in, it's mashed potatoes. If I'm buying at the theater, it's candy.
How are you how are you doing that, babe?
My big ass purse.
How are you sneaking?
They can't ask to look in my purse.
So are you eeting cold mashed potatoes during a movie?
No, I warmed it up beforehand and it's wrapped in tinfoil. Or I'm sneaking in Taco Bell.
I see. I can fuck with the Taco Bell.
You want to do that after this?
How mashed potatoes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Red skin potatoes too, with the
That's
skin
funny.
still on. We got that. We got those bitches chunky. Did you play any sports growing up that you wish you still played?
No.
I was in marching band, and I will fucking fight you. Marching band was a sport. I was out there every day after school for 2 to 3 hours, marching on a field, sweating my ass off, doing same drills, not the same drills as football players, but we were doing drills and stretches and all those kinds of things, and I miss that.
Yeah, I was forced to play baseball, and I fucking hated every bit of it.
I can't imagine you playing baseball.
Yeah, it was.
You're a very pale person.
Yeah, I hated every minute of it. It was not something I wanted to do. But I also did martial arts, and that was one of those things that I wish I would have stuck with. But that's it was not a sport thing for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, this is a stupid question. I know the answer for this. I do both of these. Would you rather your partner pick up the groceries or cook the meal?
Cook the meal.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I had to pick up the groceries, I would.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
What's your favorite way to eat a potato?
With my mouth? I don't fucking know. You mean like baked or mashed? Mashed. That's funny.
You fucking said with my mouth. So I've been doing this new thing. Saxophone, still love playing it. I play the bari sax. Love that instrument. Every once in a while I'll bust that thing out. My husband will hear me playing it on the back patio.
Yeah.
My favorite way to eat a potato. So I found like smashed potatoes where you soft boil them till they're fork tender. You smash the bitch. And some people bake them. I like frying them, and I put some Colby cheese on top.
I take my answer back.
Okay.
Hash browns.
Ooh, hash browns are good.
They are still potatoes.
Right. McDonald's hash browns.
Yeah, your hash browns.
I
The
make
ones that-
really good hash
hash
browns.
browns in general are a win. Even the square ones that we had at the Aria.
Oh, yeah, those were really good.
Hash brown. If I'm going to eat a potato and I have a choice, the hash brown's the move.
Yeah.
It's the perfect Southern Irish American food.
Yes.
It's deep fried. It's a
It's a
potato,
potato.
and you can eat it with your hands.
Yes. What's the most believable?
A believable?
I just mixed believable and conspiracy theory together.
Okay.
What is the most believable conspiracy theory you've ever heard?
Oh man, there's so many. Is it really a conspiracy theory when it comes out later to be true? Because I mean, that's most conspiracy theories now.
Yeah. I can go first.
Go ahead.
The moon landing.
You
not
really
being
don't think
real.
that was a thing?
Right, yeah, I do, because they're saying, well, we don't have the technology to go to the moon anymore, but we had it in the 1960s. We're in 2025.
Yeah.
What do you mean we can't make it to the moon now? The technology's not there.
Well, we're not as smart as we were then, apparently. Even though we have more technology in our cell phone than they had in computers back then.
We caused 9/11. I believe that shit too. I did a lot of research for that. I do believe that was an inside job. There's absolutely no reason for there to be explosions in the lower part of the buildings when the planes hit the higher parts.
I would disagree with that.
Why is that?
Because in the north, a lot of buildings have natural gas in them.
Oh, and a
Whether-
disruption
right.
could cause the explosions.
Correct. Hot water heaters can also become combustible.
Now I have to do more research.
So, I think that the Titanic ones are probably the most realistic for me.
The what?
The Titanic one.
Oh, like that was an inside job?
Yeah.
Oh, I believe
and
that
it
too.
wasn't actually the Titanic that sunk. That it was a sister ship
The
that
Britannic.
whatever it was called. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the other one I would have to say is I had it a second ago and then it went away when you said the whole 9/11 thing. I'll just say the Titanic one.
Yeah, the Titanic one makes sense. There were people who were told not to board that ship. It's a whole monopoly oligarchy thing.
I think anything that involves the government,
It's a conspiracy theory.
it's just bullshit.
Yeah. Do you believe in ghosts? Why or why not?
So the spiritual person in me, because of my faith, tells me no. That would not be a thing, because according to scripture,
Jesus, that scared the shit out of me, and I did it. So sorry.
because of scripture, we go somewhere when we die.
Right.
So the idea of there being remnants of us here after the fact would not work if you're basing it off of a scripture-based thing.
But does everybody go somewhere when they die?
I don't know. This is the problem with this, and the reason why I don't do the ghost thing. I also think that You remember in What Dreams May Come at the end where they decide to come back and like live life again to be and like to be
Right.
together again. Um, it, there's so it's all made up, right? Like I have my faith, and my faith is my faith. But all the things that come along with the what if scenarios, what if we do go to heaven and decide we want to come back and do this again?
Mm-hmm.
Or what if Buddhists are right and the soul is the tea and the body's the cup that the tea is stuck in? Did you ever watch Little Buddha with Keanu
No.
Reeves? There's a scene in that where the monk takes a cup and drops it on the floor and was like, there's tea on the floor. Just because the vessel is broken doesn't mean the tea doesn't exist. It just is now dispersed across the floor.
Yeah.
And like I saw that very early on, and I believe that to be a thing. Like I do believe that energy doesn't, it just moves from thing to thing.
Yeah.
And I enjoy that aspect of it, and it makes sense to me. But I think the human brain grasps for a whole lot of things to comfort ourselves. Faith being one of them. Not only is it the golden rule and teaches you the way that you should conduct yourself, but it gives you hope that you're not going to end up rotting in a box for all of eternity and that this life is just not the only thing. And then you look at other religions with reincarnation and the idea of ghosts and us being able to be here still wandering around. If that's the case, you're walking through ghosts constantly.
Oh yeah.
Like, I don't know. I think the reality of it is when you die, you're done. Whether you go to another plane of existence as a soul or not, like I don't think that there's remnants of you here. I think it would be more likely that the ghost aspect of things is just energy.
Yeah.
And not the remnants of a soul that has memories that is,
Like cognizant.
Right.
So I don't believe in ghosts. I do believe in spirits, right? I think
What's the difference?
So the difference is, I believe that there is a spirit piloting this human vessel.
So you believe in souls?
I do. But ghosts, in my mind, come across as somebody can leave heaven whenever they want to, or no, that's not what I mean. A ghost is somebody who is trapped on this earthly plane and can't move on, and they're cognitive that they have influence on things, or they're living in repeat of how they died or whatever is going on. Like their soul can't move on. They're trapped here.
Well, that would indicate that your soul has a memory.
Right.
And if your brain is what saves memories, your soul wouldn't have that. Like, where would the memories go at that point? Because your brain is done when you die. So how would that work? I'm not saying that your thing is wrong.
Right.
I'm just curious, like, how that...
Well, I don't believe in ghosts.
Okay.
So I believe that our souls move on to wherever they move on to, whether you are able to get into heaven or I have my faith. So if you walked down the path that was easier for you and was not righteous, and you chose to not do the hard things to become what you were built to be, you go another way.
Yeah.
I do believe, like, you know how voices are recorded and we can hear voices from the 1800s, even though that person's dead. It's a repeat of what was said. I think that bits and pieces of our souls are left behind like Horcruxes, like in extremely traumatic events. And that is reverberated through time and space.
Yeah.
So I touched a piece of the Berlin Wall. I remember this moment distinctly. I was sitting in my 10th grade history class, and my teacher brought in a piece of the Berlin Wall. We were talking about the Cold War and all these other kinds of things. And we passed this piece around, and I touched this piece of the Berlin Wall, and it was like instant electricity in my body. And it was like I was connecting with the past, and I can hear the voices and the crying and the joy as the wall was being broken down where this chunk came from. And it's almost like a record being played again.
I've also held pieces of the Berlin Wall, but I didn't get any of that.
Yeah.
I definitely believe that horrible things like tragedies and shit can definitely put a stain on the universe.
Yeah.
And I think that's why, we can walk into certain places and not feel good about it, right? Like there's just something off. But I can't say ghost or spirit otherwise.
I do believe that people who have passed on, they can be messengers of things.
How?
In dreams, for example, if you are right, because I believe that the Lord tries to give us messages in our day-to-day life, and if we are ignoring those things, somebody else could be sent in that place to try to deliver that message. Just the same way, like if I'm having a really, really hard time and I'm in the middle of a place where I don't know anybody, and then a fan of the podcast walks up and says, "Thank you so much for everything that you do." That person doesn't know that 5 seconds ago I was thinking about, fuck all of this. I don't want to do this anymore.
Right.
I can't handle this mentally. I believe that is a moment of divine intervention of, you need to hear this so you can keep going.
Yeah. I do believe in divine intervention.
Yeah.
The reason I asked that specifically about the people coming and going, I don't believe that we would be able to come and go. I
think we would need permission.
If you're talking about being able to see a loved one in a dream because God needs to give you a message, why wouldn't God just give you the message as that person in your dream? Instead of making that person leave whatever heaven or hell they've earned to come and deliver a message when he can just project that into your head while you're sleeping. And it just gives you a different perspective.
Yeah.
I don't know. Nobody does.
Right.
And everybody that says that they do is it's full shit.
Yeah.
It's the whole point of faith.
Right.
If you knew, it wouldn't be faith. Let's do another one. New question.
Skydive or scuba dive?
I would rather scuba dive, but I can't.
Because of your ear.
Because of my ear.
I want to skydive.
Yeah, I know you do.
I did the whole water thing. That actually really freaked me out.
Yeah.
When we went snorkeling in Thailand. I really the ocean is powerful. And they gave us, the guy before we jumped off of the boat gave us an actual drawn diagram of, I saw you were reading a comment.
Gave you an actual diagram of?
He drew us a diagram of stay away from the reef.
It's fragile.
Don't touch the reef. And the moment I jumped off the boat, we were on the reef. I was like, homie, you couldn't have taken us 15 feet away. And I would swim away from the reef and I would look at things. And then 3 seconds later, the ocean has pushed me closer to the reef. And I'm like, I'm 3 feet away from a sea urchin. I don't want to be poked by this bitch. What if someone has to pee on me?
I got you.
I don't want to do that. I mean, I guess that would be my one and done. I'm willing to try anything once. So we'll see if it sparks something in me, I guess.
That's funny.
I've always wanted to skydive.
I thought you I did not think that's what you were going to say. I've always wanted to, and my brain went, get peed on? Really? Why haven't you asked?
It's good to know that you're also down to do anything once.
Oh, man. So stupid.
Too hot or too cold? Why?
Oh, man.
Too cold. I can't take my skin off if I get too hot.
Normally I would say too hot. I don't want to be too hot. I'd rather be too cold.
Yeah.
Yeah, so too cold. But 40 degrees the other day walking Ivy in the morning and snot was freezing on my lip. I don't know what it was. I was not fucking with that cold weather.
No?
So, I don't know. I think that in a long enough situation and the right layering, you get used to the cold.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
I think that you get used to the heat too, but
yeah. I have not gotten used to the heat. Step outside, it's 100 degrees. I'm like, that mail can wait till tomorrow.
Yeah.
What music or songs remind you of your childhood?
Oh, man. The Beastie Boys License to Ill album.
Yeah.
First cassette I ever owned.
Okay.
Anything from the 80s to mid 90s skating rink music. Are we talking what part of our childhood?
Oh, yeah, there's multiple facets to it. First songs that come to my mind is I'm happy, I'm feeling glad, I got sunshine in a bag, I'm useless. Another one is she's a dancing queen, young and sweet, only 17. And then, of course, Rascal Flatts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also have Slick Rick, the Lottie Dottie song that
yeah.
Snoop Dogg sampled. Yeah, my childhood was a lot of Mixture of country and hip hop because my parents listen to country and southern rock and I listen to hip hop.
Listen to a lot of Akon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Smack that. All on the floor. Smack that. Give me some more. What else? Look at this photograph. Every time I do, it makes me laugh. And there was that one that my dad would cry to.
The Sheryl Crow song with Kid Rock.
Yeah, that's the one.
Pictures.
Pictures, yeah. Do you consider yourself to be an extrovert or an introvert? Why?
I don't consider myself to be either one.
I think you're an extrovert.
I don't think I'm either.
Yeah?
I think that so many people like to utilize the terminology to define themselves when they're simply just not comfortable enough saying that I've had enough peopling today.
Yeah.
Or to be like, I just don't fucking like this person.
Yeah.
Right? I enjoy good conversation. But when my social battery's done, I'm fucking done.
Yeah.
And like that can happen in a flip of a switch. I can be totally good and have one scenario hit me and drain that social battery and the rest of my day is fucked.
Yeah. I think in the grand scheme of things, you crave community and you
Absolutely.
need people to talk to.
Yeah.
I think you're an extrovert.
I don't think that makes me an extrovert. I don't go out of my way to talk to people. If we're walking through a grocery store,
right.
I'm not saying a fucking word to anybody. I don't want to have those
Right.
conversations.
I don't think extrovert means that you just talk to random strangers.
I know that,
so.
but you said that okay. I just don't think that I'm an extrovert. I don't think that I'm an introvert either. I think that I have a social battery and I think that I enjoy good conversation. I definitely agree that we need community. I think to a degree you do too, whether you want to admit it or not. I think that that's baked into us in, 100,000 years of survival.
Well, yeah, if I was a widow or a spinster,
Right.
I would need community. I don't necessarily want it. I kind of want to be like a bog witch of Groundhog Day. And if I come out next 6 weeks, they're going to be daffodils or something. And then I disappear for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
I think I am an introvert. I could go 6 months without talking to people and I'm golden. It doesn't affect my mental health the way it affects your mental health when I don't talk to people.
Not talking to people doesn't affect my mental health. Isolation affects my mental health. And there's a difference there. Again, though, we're by evolution, we're not meant to be alone.
Right.
There is a alarm bell that goes off, but I've also spent years of my life in AdSeg. So like the being alone thing is absolutely a problem for me. And isolation, especially when I'm depressed, gets really fucking bad. It makes my depression so much worse. I enjoy honest conversations. I enjoy conversations that challenge my thought process, but the need for communication is a need for a specific type of communication. So like, I can't just talk to anybody. I can be civil and be polite to people because I was raised with manners. But if I'm not getting something that's emotionally or intelligently stimulating for me, I don't want a small talk. And if I was an extroverted person, I would be able to small talk with anyone all the time, no matter what. And I'm not.
I see you do that a lot, though.
There's a difference between being polite and being engaged in a conversation.
Okay.
I will be polite. It's the right thing to do. You never know what kind of day somebody's having.
Right.
And being polite because somebody says hello to you, whereas I like your shoes. Oh, really? I like your shirt. You never know what you're doing for somebody. That interaction could be the thing that saves somebody from going home and eliminating themselves. I've had those interactions on days that I've wanted to eliminate myself. You never know when you're going to be reciprocating that to people. It doesn't take anything off my back to fucking just be polite.
Well, I do that.
But that's why I'm polite to people and have the small talk that I do.
Yeah. I thought you just said you don't do small talk.
No, I don't enjoy small talk.
Okay.
I will do it out of being polite and having manners, but I get fulfillment from engaging thought-provoking conversations. And there is a difference there.
Okay. What is something that you couldn't live without?
You.
That was a quick answer.
That's the truth. What?
Well, now what the fuck do I say? I can't say the same answer, but if I say like books, I
Cheese,
feel like a
fromage.
dick.
I don't say what you gotta say.
I can't.
Say what you gotta say.
That dick.
I knew you were gonna say that shit. The moment you were like, I can't. That's funny.
Yeah. Tell me I'm fucking filthy, please. All right. Play a board game together or go on a hike together? Hike. Yep. What makes you feel better when you're sick?
Sleep.
I need constant validation that I'm not a lazy piece of shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
I feel really guilty when I get sick.
yeah.
Yeah. I need to know that I'm not selfish for laying in bed and healing.
Yeah. I just sleep that shit off.
What is your favorite thing to do on a fall day? Now pretend we had fall in Florida.
Yeah, we have 3 seasons in Florida.
Hot, and hotter.
Tax, hurricane, and tourist.
Oh, yeah.
My favorite thing to do on a fall day would be dependent on where we were at in the world. Because a fall day in Maryland,
Massachusetts.
right, is going to look very different than a fall day in Texas.
Yeah.
So,
Might go get that pumpkin spice latte.
I would like to do a scenic route or a hike somewhere where I can take pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah. We don't have the changing of the color of the trees in Florida unless the trees are dying from fire, because that happens. But so I would want to try to capture that.
Moving on to the next group.
Okay.
We're going to go from icebreaker to deep.
Okay. Ghosty said fall days in Texas. Well, fall is still a season. Autumn is a season. And whether or not it affects your climate doesn't change the fact that that season still passes. So in Texas, it would be no different than the rest of summer. It's going to be hot as fuck and miserable.
Oh, man. I'm going to read this and then tell you guys why I laughed. It says, which family member do you think you're most like and why? I would have to know my family to answer that question.
Yep.
Moving on to the next. How often do you see your family?
Next.
If you could have chosen a different location to grow up in, where would it be and why?
A different location to grow up in?
Yeah. Probably like Switzerland. I would want to be in a different country.
Anytime we're going to have a question about the past and things being changed, I'm not going to... I can't really answer that because I'm very happy and fulfilled in my life. And if I would have lived my life in any other fashion than the one that I did, I would not have become the man I am, and I wouldn't have what I currently have. Now, in a new life where I got to start all over again with a fresh slate, I would want to live somewhere remote.
Yeah.
That forced me to be very independent based off the land. So, and rural. I would like to live somewhere where everybody knows everybody. I'm sure that as a child, I would fucking hate that.
Yeah, because everyone's snitching.
Well, it's not even that. Everybody's in everybody's business. Everybody knows everybody's name. If you got to drive 20 minutes to get to your neighbor, there's no real sense of community. There's a whole lot of hard work that comes into all that, especially if you live on a farm. But I would want that. I think that experience makes hard men.
Oh, golly gosh. Explain the reasoning behind your tattoos.
No.
I fucking wanted them.
Yep.
Oh, hang on. I'm going to tell you guys. I got my husband's name specifically on my stomach so he could look at it.
Yeah.
Anytime he wanted to know I'm his.
I'm going to just not say shit.
What do you remember most from our first date?
The connection of photography.
Yeah.
I was trying to think of like a really cool moment, but honestly, knowing that I was already a professional photographer in life and you were learning, it made me look really fucking smart. Try this camera setting, get down low, do this, do that, try this, try that. It made me feel like I was bringing something into your life that you didn't have. And it made me feel like the superhero that I want to be.
Yeah.
So
it's the first time you kissed me in public.
Yeah.
Why are you looking at me like that?
Because anytime we have a first kiss thought, I always go to you saying that you slid down the wall after I left your apartment.
Oh, man. Yeah, I really did do that. My ankles were so supple back then. I didn't have to worry about getting up off the floor after it.
That's funny.
Now I have to make sure my knee scooter's nearby. I'm so over this cough.
They said
feels like the what?
Go ahead. You feel like what?
Feel like there's dog hair stuck in my throat.
Well, I mean, it's possible. She's fucking constantly attached to you. Somebody said I was the Joe bringing value to your life.
Oh, yeah. From the creepy show. Yeah. I was like, wait a minute. Joe Dirt?
Dirty.
Describe your first impression of me. And we have to go to the comic book store impression. That was the first time you ever saw me.
There was no first impression there.
No?
At that point, you were my best friend's woman. Like it was just completely, there was nothing. Like I wanted nothing to do with you.
Yeah, I thought this dude's a dick. He wants nothing to do with me.
I was mean.
You were absolutely mean. Yep. All right, let's flash forward to when you actually thought something nice about me. When did that happen? What was your first impression when you thought something nice of me?
I thought nice stuff about you even before, like even when you were still with him. But that first impression shit doesn't count.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think everything shifted with you and I. Was one when I tattooed you. Well, it was before I tattooed you, but tattooing you was a very specific memory for me, and I'm not getting into that, but that was a very specific memory. And then helping you with your painting and like the conversations that came, and then helping you with Procreate on your iPad when we were at the comic book store later was a thing. Like it was an evolution. It wasn't, you were off limits. Like that was not okay for me. And then I wasn't. Slowly became more and more of my happiness matters more than their feelings.
Yeah.
Fuck it, it's selfishness. Whatever.
Okay.
Buff Bell asked how your weak ass ankles are going to survive Costa Rica.
My ankle brace.
Yep.
And my man carrying me if he needs to.
Better hope my back is good by then. Because if I have to carry you, you're going over a shoulder like a sack of potatoes.
Done.
Horse feed.
You could have said like my wife, but okay.
I've only gotten to pick you up over my shoulder like that once or twice. It's not a common occurrence. I've thrown a lot of bags of horse feed over my shoulder.
Damn. I don't know how to respond to being grouped in with horse feed.
Damn, why are you going there with that?
What do you mean?
You're just turning this whole thing into a negative. Me carrying you around like a sack of potatoes or a thing like that's how you carry a bag of horse feed.
Right. It's
And
also a fireman carry.
Is it? I'm not a fireman. I've never had to fireman carry anyone.
Okay. A lot of family questions in here. My goodness gracious.
That's because most people have healthy relationships with their. Most people
Yikes.
have relationships with their family.
Good correction.
Yeah, not healthy. They're not healthy at all.
If you had the chance to ask the government what would you want to know?
It wouldn't matter. They're gonna lie to you anyways.
Yeah. I don't trust these bitches.
Yeah.
I would ask them to make me nachos, and I wouldn't trust that recipe. What do you know about me?
They're gonna lie. That one person you're asking is gonna be like, yeah, I don't know, nothing. Get your computer out, bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah. The cards are let's get deep. Questions for couples.
Have you ever sleepwalked?
Yes. Yep.
I've never sleepwalked, but I used to sit up in my sleep.
Yeah.
One of my mom's ex-boyfriends, was very startled. My sister and I used to sleep in the living room at night because we were so scared of the dark. And it probably took me up until the age of 13 or 14 to actually sleep in my own bed. And he walked out one night and I was just sitting up mumbling in my sleep.
Yeah. I don't know how old I was, but I was under 10. My mom said that I actually walked out the front door in the middle of the night, unlocked the door and walked outside.
Jeez.
In my sleep. They caught me. They were awake still.
Yeah, of course they were.
Yeah.
What childish thing do you still enjoy?
Farts.
Yeah, those are pretty funny. I like blowing bubbles.
He-Man. Nintendo.
What the fuck is type A?
Sitting up in your sleep is an ADHD thing. Is it actually an ADHD thing, or is it just something that people do and some people that do it have ADHD? I think that's a very black or white statement. My husband and I have considered getting those, seen them on Amazon. Congratulations on the book, Chris. Thank you. My sister locked herself out of the garage when she was younger. She would sleepwalk and talk all the time. My mom also said that I tried to pee in my closet once when I was a kid sleeping.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know if that's true or not. I got to be honest. Anything that my mom told me, like looking back on my life, any of the shit that she said, I don't know if any of it was true because she was a fucking liar about everything.
Yeah.
So anyways, not getting into that.
Put a stop to war or end world hunger?
Man, that's a train track question.
That is a train track.
You're picking. You're killing somebody either way.
Yeah. I would choose to end war.
I don't know.
I think that as a result of ending war, hunger would become less of a thing.
Would it?
I think so. There's so much time, energy, and money spent into war and militia and all of these other kinds of things that could be redirected to other things if war didn't exist.
I agree with that. But there's a security aspect that comes down to it.
Right, but if it's never going to be a thing, it's just completely eliminated from the world.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. It's also a population control thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a very hard question. Like that's the surface level. It's an easy question. You could just pick one. But when you really think about the aspect of it, like I've been to a fucking Holocaust museum.
Yeah.
And like sobbed the entire time I was fucking there. You know, that's a horrible situation to see. And of course you'd be like, that's an obvious answer. Like we shouldn't be repeating that shit. Nuclear war, like all of the things that's currently going on is horrific.
Yeah.
That does make the most amount of sense. But to end world hunger, if there was an abundance of everything, that changes a whole lot of the reasons that we are fighting for stuff. Like, resources is a huge cause for war. It comes down to resources. Like, we want the land for a reason. So like you look at most major wars, it does come down to somebody trying to take over something because there's resources there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I'm going to go with war.
I'm almost certain that Putin went to war over Ukraine just because he believes that Ukraine should be part of Russia.
There's a whole lot more to it than that. It's not just that simple, but yes, that is a huge part of it. The Ukraine was a part of Russia. The Ukraine.
I feel like he feels like he has a right to have that back.
That's the narrative that the news has pushed. Again, there's a lot more to it than that, but that is definitely a big talking point from the news outlets that it has been for a while now.
And like with Hitler doing what he was doing, he just wanted to have the master race and
eugenics.
Gain control. There really wasn't resources in Poland that he wanted. He just wanted to gain as much control as he could.
Right. His war was very specific.
And then the fallout of World War II was just massive. I mean, I don't think Japan wanted anything from Pearl Harbor. They just wanted to make things known.
Right. I'm not talking about the last 100 years. I'm talking about as in a whole.
Right.
But when you want to talk about Russia and Ukraine, Ukraine puts out a very huge portion of wheat across all of Europe. There's also gas lines that run through Ukraine. There's a whole lot of reasons to take control of Ukraine. And though Putin may want to own Ukraine and put it back into the USSR because he believes that it was, the downfall of the USSR was the greatest tragedy of the 19th century, there's a whole lot more to it than the surface level of I want Ukraine. Speaking on Hitler and all of that, again, that was a very specific thing. Vietnam War was a very specific thing. Those were wars for communism and freedom. But when you look at the greater humanity, it does come down to resources. If another nation is thriving and doing well and you're able to take that shit and make it your own, you are going to be thriving and doing well. But that goes, tens of thousands of years. It's not just, or 5,000 years, depending on what you believe in. It's still a long fucking time when you think about it. But
between us, who is touchier?
I don't know.
I think I am.
Okay. I can't make an argument otherwise. I don't know. There are days that I'm fucking super needy and want to touch you constantly. There's days that you're the same way. Definitely more emotional than I am. But I will concede that you are more touchy. I want to be touched, but I don't always want to be the touchy.
Yeah.
Like, for example, when we're on the couch at night and your feet aren't touching me, I feel weird about it.
Then why don't you ever say anything?
I do most of the time. I grab you and pull you over. Unless I'm being in my head, feeling the way I'm feeling, and it's a whole different thing. But
okay, that was all the ones that weren't family related. What first attracted you to me?
your bubbliness. I was going through one of the worst depressions of my life, and you were happy as a motherfucker. Or at least you put out that you were happy as a motherfucker. You may not have been, but you were outgoing, compassionate, smiling all the time. Like you were the exact opposite of everything I had in my life, and I was drawn to it like a fucking magnet because of it. It's like an anglerfish with the light. Mm-hmm. You were that light.
Yeah. Am I still that light?
You ate me.
Oh, wow.
It's a prey thing. Get it?
Yeah. Am I still that light for you?
You are. You are.
Okay, dope. You were the manliest man I've ever encountered.
Yeah? That's a hell of a statement.
You're not feminized. You're not a pussy. You were the manliest man I've ever encountered. Still are.
I'll take that.
Hot as fuck.
That's funny. I think that things have changed quite a bit on the personality front.
What do you mean?
It's not just a bubbly, happy on the exterior person. Like, because I didn't know you then. I only got to see what you showed the world. And a lot of people put on that fake smile and go out into existence, come home fucking drained and miserable. And you may have been doing that at the time. I don't fucking know. I didn't like come home to you and see what you were. I see you in a very different light now. And I know when you're having bad days. And I know when you're trying to work through those bad days and put on that smile for the world, even though you don't want to.
Sometimes I put that smile on for you.
Yeah, I know you do. But it's still a concerted effort to be better. No pun intended in the play of words there, but it's different now. You are absolutely still that light to me. Like, you will always be my light in the darkness. You are my compass. You know what I mean? Like, I need that. That's why earlier when you were asked, what's one thing you can't live without? And I said, I mean that shit. Like, I find a reason to get out of bed every morning and do the things that we do because of you. But I know you on a different level now. So on days when you are truly having a good day, I appreciate those days a whole lot fucking more than the average person would appreciate their woman having a good day, because I've seen the ugly side of it as well.
Yeah.
But there's also the deep appreciation for you not allowing your demons to win and allowing that to give you months of depression and all of that. I just don't think it's as simple as the answer that I gave in the beginning. I think there's a lot more to it than that.
Okay.
So,
Okay, so these are also very sexual. Which characteristic of my personality do you most admire?
it's the happiness.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. The it's the light in the darkness for me. That's really what it comes down to. You spend your whole life in a whole lot of ugly. Come from ugly places. You go through ugly things. You tend to appreciate things that are soft and gentle and beautiful. And when you get to have it and it's yours, and like it changes things for you. Like that happiness goes a long way. I've got so much ugly in me that like I don't even want to be around people when they're having bad days. Like it's hard for me. So what about you?
I don't know if this really like is a characteristic of your personality, but I love seeing your inner child come out.
Yeah.
When you're being goofy and having a good time and not giving a fuck what anybody in the room is thinking in that moment because you're having a good time.
What would you call that?
I don't know.
Do you believe in right person, wrong time?
Depends on the context.
I'm going to say no. It doesn't matter if it's the right person or not. If you are not capable of maintaining a relationship with that person because you've not healed or whatever is going on in your life, it's not the right person, wrong time.
It's the wrong person.
It's just not meant to be right now.
Yeah.
Now, I understand the question, and I understand that, like, do you think that you can meet somebody 5 years later and be like, oh my God, that's my person? Absolutely. But if you would have tried to do that shit 5 years prior when your life was a fucking mess, you would have destroyed it. I believe that God brings people into your path when you need them.
Yeah.
Or the universe. I truly believe people are here to teach us something. And whether or not we are able to learn from that or not matters. But
would you accept 20 years of perfect happiness and fulfillment if it meant you would die at the end of that period?
yes.
Me too.
Yep.
For $1 million, would you be willing to never see or talk to your best friend again?
$1 million isn't a lot of money. $1 million now is not a lot of money.
Okay, $10 million.
I don't know. Can we go back to the last question for a second? Is that last card still accessible?
Yeah.
What was it again?
Would you accept 20 years of perfect happiness and fulfillment if it meant you would die at the end of that period?
Before we got to the point of like actually starting a relationship together, the only thing that kept me alive was believing that I deserved to experience true happiness for once in my life before I ended my life. With all of the abuse, all of the things that I've gone through, I have not got to experience that normal happy that other people have got to experience. I got that now. And if this lasted for 20 years and I die afterwards and I got to experience the last 20 years of my life in a place of joy and fulfillment and like got to experience the life that I'm living, it fucking worth every second of not killing myself. That is such a personal thing for me that I can't just go by, that I had to say that. On the other aspect of the friendship thing, I think that people come and go in your life. They're always going to come and go. And like, I have had a lot of people that I viewed as like I loved as a brother that I don't speak to at all anymore, who are still alive, that we just grew apart.
Yeah.
Now, can I say that I would put a price on that? I don't know.
You're my best friend, so.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest, I'm kind of hurt. I thought that was going to be your answer.
Well,
but,
when they said best friend, I didn't think you. I'm not thinking that because you're my wife.
right.
We might, you are my best friend in that aspect, but the wife title supersedes that. 100% supersedes that. So speaking about like, would be like Sean. That would be the best friend in question in this scenario.
Yeah.
I don't know if $1 million would do it. 10 million, maybe. Everybody's got a price.
Right.
You're going to get to a high enough number. People are going to be willing to step away from just about anything. But again, the value of the dollar is not the same. So.
You ready for the next one?
Yep.
What slang have I picked up from you?
Dope.
Yeah, that's the first thing that came to my mind.
I love that for you.
What, that you picked that up from me?
I never said that once in my life until I met you.
Wow.
Yep. What are you thinking?
Neat.
Did you pick that up for me, or did I pick that up from you?
I think you picked that up from me.
I've always said that as an insult.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I've never heard it, so.
Yeah, it's always been like a fuck you.
Yeah, I've always meant it as like, that's really dope, and then you started saying it as like.
Yeah. Huh. Maybe.
Some of these questions are stupid.
I agree.
What's something you do because you love your partner, not because you enjoy it?
I don't have an answer for this.
Yeah.
What about you? I have an answer.
Okay, you go first.
Hugging you when you're emotional and we're in conflict.
Yeah.
Yep, that is 100% solely for you, and it makes me uncomfortable because of my past. I'm getting over it.
Yeah.
It was very hard in the beginning. That was kind of a ha-ha answer. Obviously, it's not really that big of a deal anymore. I don't think that... I view doing hard things differently than most people.
Mm.
Maybe this falls on the I'm not a pussy thing, right? Like, I'm going to work through pain. I'm going to work through a whole lot of things that I don't want to do because I have obligations, and I don't view my discipline as an inconvenience. So doing things that I know are going to make you happy even if I don't want to do it, it makes me happy knowing that I'm fulfilling that happiness in you. That's a win for me. And if I begrudgingly, I don't want to fucking do this. Can't believe she asked me to hang the fucking Christmas lights or whatever the case may be. I don't want to fucking do that shit.
Right.
But I get to see you smile afterwards. That's my payment for doing those things. It's a mindset. So I really can't answer that. Are you able to think anything?
Not that I can think of, no.
I get to serve you when you ask me to do shit. And that's very rewarding for me. Now, if we had a relationship where you asked me to do something and I did it and there was no gratitude and you were fucking miserable all the time, that would be a very different conversation. But I think because of the relationship we have, that's not a thing.
Yeah. What's your favorite nickname you have for me?
Oh man, there's a lot. Hotness Everdeen is the most used.
Yeah.
Because I get to call you hot.
Yeah.
And it's just a thing between us. I can't say a lot of these on the podcast.
No, you can't. Not at all. No. Daddy. Yeah. This next one's fucking stupid, and this makes me not want to do this anymore. Who would be your celebrity hall pass?
There would not be a celebrity hall pass.
Not at all. I view that as lusting after somebody, and that's cheating.
That's becoming a normal thing, though, for people.
Disgusting.
Yep.
Sinners. All of you.
That whole your celebrity hall pass is telling somebody that in the event that you had the opportunity, you would cheat on them.
Yeah.
That's what that says.
Yeah.
But they're famous. So fucking what?
Right. They're still a human being, and they're a real person.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, these are all just becoming increasingly more sexual.
Yeah, it's for couples. That's why.
The next tier is act, and we don't have an OnlyFans, so.
Oh, like as in we're supposed to do stuff the cards say? Yeah, we ain't doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we ain't doing that. Jenny said, I don't even have a celebrity crush and I'm single.
Yeah.
What does that say about us as a society where we have normalized the idea of giving somebody a hall pass to sleep with somebody else simply because they have fame?
That we value fame over loyalty in a relationship. That for some reason people who are famous are elevated
Above
for
us.
some reason.
That's it. Like they hold some sort of status.
Yeah.
You know, when we first started doing this, when we first started doing all of this, I didn't like, I still held people who had big followings or people who had, you know, made music like Jelly Roll. Like I held him in a really fucking high regard.
Mm-hmm.
And the more we do this and the more we meet famous people and meet people with followings and like all of that, I don't see them any differently than us now.
Yeah.
And like, I don't see us any differently than the people who don't internet. Like you have a skill set and you might have a name and that's super fucking cool, but your character means a whole lot more to me than them fucking numbers do.
Yeah.
Are there celebrities you find attractive? Yes, but I wouldn't forfeit my integrity and relationship with my wife for a single interaction. Would you do it for multiple interactions?
Every other male has become an NPC to me.
Yeah.
There is not an attractiveness outside of my husband.
Why do you think that is?
Because that will...
Do you think it's a choice?
Yeah, it's a multiple things. But above all else, it's a choice. I used to be that person who used to lust after other men. I would think about other men while doing the act with the person I'm with because they didn't do it for me anymore. And I am not willing to sacrifice what we have for a fantasy.
I agree. I believe it's a choice.
Yeah.
It's crazy how I'm not going to be cliche and be like, when you find the right person, because
Right.
it's not really it. I think it's when you make the choice to live with somebody and you guys are able to live as a team and you're fucking working together and doing a thing, you're right. The rest of the world kind of fades away. They said no, but I was addressing the idea of a hall pass. I'm just curious because you said single interaction. That was very specific phrasing. So I had to ask. DT Smoochie said, Smoochy said, I thought it was weird that I'm not attracted to anyone else.
He's my man, and that's it.
I think when you're in love with somebody, that's the way it's supposed to be, though.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think when your person no longer fills your cup, then you have wandering eyes.
I think so. I agree with that. I think that yeah, absolutely. I think that when your needs are no longer being fulfilled, it becomes a whole lot easier to excuse shitty behavior.
Yeah.
And I think that speaks to the victim mentality. Well, what about me? Because that's the narrative now. Well, what about go get your bag? What about you? Like, you deserve better. And that's the bullshit that people tell themselves to justify their shitty behavior.
Mm-hmm.
Cricket said, I think that 98% of people forget that celebrities are actual people and not just pixels in a screen. And how they portray themselves is most likely not how they actually are as a person. They are absolutely not how they are as a person. They're fucking actors. That's their job. They act. Yeah. Are love and mechs weaved and inseparable? I don't know what mechs means.
Sex.
Oh.
Ow. That sucked. My fat rolls are getting up underneath my sports bra and it hurts. But when I stand up, it's not like that. Why are you looking at me like that?
A whole lot of things.
Why?
Because I don't appreciate that.
Well, it's here.
I know. It's because you're sitting down. Your torso is squished.
It is squished. Over here looking like a ham sandwich.
I like ham sandwiches. So to answer that question, are love and mechs weaved and inseparable? No. I don't think they are. I think that if that was the case, you'd want to do your siblings. I think that love is a very unique experience for a lot of people, and I think that love changes from person to person, meaning that like the way you love the people in your previous relationship is not the way you love the person in your current relationship. I believe that's an ever evolving thing. And I believe that there are a whole lot of people out there who have separated the two and believe that there is no consequences for them to do the deed. And they're just willy-nilly about it. And I think that's problematic. But I don't think that the two are interweaved and inseparable. If that was the case, people wouldn't be fucking everything they could. I feel like I appreciate the beauty in others, but I don't feel attracted to anyone else. I don't know if that makes sense. It does make sense. Depending on how you define the word beauty, I don't use beautiful is not how do I word that? It's not a nonchalant thing. Like that's attractive is a nonchalant thing. Sexy is even a nonchalant thing. Like those words are so hot, fine, whatever. All of those are just words. They're words to describe something that you find an attraction to. To find something beautiful means something totally different to me. Songs are beautiful, poetry, art. My woman, like there's love is those beautiful that the word itself has so much more meaning to me than all of those other words. I don't use that word lightly. And I honestly, that came from a fucking psychedelic experience.
Yeah.
Because you get to experience what beauty is in a state of mind like that. It changes, especially when in that moment you can't find another word to express what you mean and beautiful is all you got. It changed the entire purpose of that word. I do not use that word lightly. You snapped your own bra, LOL.
Yeah, I did. We're coming up on 3 hours.
Yeah, you want to wrap up?
Yeah.
Artistic beauty and attraction aren't the same thing. I agree. Beautiful is a way deeper thing. I've said that forever. All right, we're done. She said she's done. We're done. We're going to go get Taco Bell and then go home and do whatever we're going to do at home.
Hell yeah.
That being said, guys, thanks for hanging out with us on this Friday night, and we'll see you on Monday.
Have a good night, guys.
I'm going to just end and mute. End and